Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Doctor Who tier list. This time we've done the Daleks, so the next obvious choice is the Cybermen. So I wonder if we'll have hot takes to annoy some of you, or we might be in the safe area tonight. So once again, I'm joined with Luke.
Yes, hello everyone. It's the second of the two heavy hitters, really, isn't it?
Yeah,
Been a fair few Cyberman stories over the years.
not as many as Daleks, I don't think.
No, not quite as much, but I mean,
And
they
then,
skipped out on the 70s almost entirely.
yeah, pretty much just the
Just,
one. Well, yeah, Carnival of Monsters as well, I guess, but we're not
yeah,
classing cameos because it gets a bit complicated then, I guess, if you say like Face a Raven and all that sort of stuff. But
yeah, especially when
yeah,
you get with the new series. I think they like their cameos all over the place, even more so than classics. So you do run into some rabbit holes there if you start counting one.
yeah, and we don't want to go down that rabbit hole just yet.
No,
But yeah, this is probably going to be the last big tier list for monsters until whenever, really, because these are like the big heavy hitters, and then, like you said, Sontarans, Silurians, and Sea Devils. There's not too much there for them, and Ice Warriors.
yeah.
So
Yeah, we will be going through a few more days there. I think plan is to get the Sea Devils and Silurians done together to sort of tie in with Legend of the Sea Devils, isn't it? After that, get our thoughts out on that alongside.
that'll probably be the next one, I guess.
Yeah, perhaps. I mean, still don't have a confirmed release date for that, but it's looking likely to be
the Easter Sunday.
17th.
We were hoping to do the Sontarans in March, but again, that could happen. It just depends when season 22 drops to celebrate Two Doctors, but we'll have to wait and see for that one at the minute. But
Yeah.
while waiting for a few people to join, what have you been doing? How have you been occupying yourself since the last time I had a little chat with you?
I went to the cinema for the first time
Ooh.
since 2019, pre-pandemic. And this time I saw The Batman, which was well worth the trip. Definitely had a great experience with that. I think it's one that's almost 3 hours, but I don't feel like I felt it as
Okay.
hard. Yeah, I think the pacing really does go by very well. It's straight into the plot there, no faffing around, and it just carries you through brilliant performances, brilliant cinematography. It definitely was the one to like bring me back in from the cold, I guess, when it comes to cinema trips.
Well, it took 5 years to make, didn't it, because of the pandemic? So it's I guess a good
Yeah,
one to welcome you back.
yeah. I think it sort of like went through various stages of development. Like at one point, it was tied into the wider DC universe with like Ben Affleck in the role. I think he was even meant to write and direct, or maybe just direct. But yeah, and then sort of things got a bit messy there, I believe. He's pretty much done with Batman at this point, and so just ended up spinning it off into its own little new world. So no homework required for this one, and I think it's refreshing with superhero films to have one that you can just go into without needing to worry about how it ties into everything else.
I mean,
And
I'm
so,
tempted to see it. I am tempted because me and my mate was talking about going. Oh, we should go and see it. So I'm hopefully gonna see it when I've got a chance to.
yeah, I
It
definitely
definitely
recommend it.
it seems like one of those films what definitely benefits the cinema experience, I think.
Yeah, I'd say so. There's like a lot of scenes where you really get lost in it, and I think it wouldn't have the same effect if you were just sat at home watching it on the screen.
I mean, how was Robert Pattinson? How's the Pat Bat?
He's brilliant.
Is he
I
the
think
best Batman? Because I've seen a lot of people go, this is like the best interpretation of Batman.
I feel like he could be for me, but I'm not really as well versed in the others to make a fair comparison, I guess. It's not like where Doctor Who, where we know all the different doctors inside out. But I do very much like him in the role. Yeah, I was having a think the other day actually, and I'm pretty sure it is the first DC film I have seen in cinemas. I've kind
Okay.
of seen loads of Marvel ones, so it's not like I haven't seen any comic book films in cinemas before, but yeah, I had a thought, and I'm pretty sure it's the first DC one I've seen.
Blimey.
Which is a weird thought, but yeah, a great one to start that off with. Well, I've seen loads at home, but yeah.
Good one for the cinema experience.
We mentioned rabbit holes earlier as well, and you found yourself down one, haven't you? You may have seen him out on Twitter or on YouTube posting a little teaser, but tell us about your new obsession, Ben.
Oh, it's going to be another expensive little hobby, I think. One, I don't want to go too deep down, but I feel like I'm slowly losing that. As with the help of James, because Mel originally was going to get me a complete history book, which, more in keeping for me, because it was going to make Pertwee's face, because I've got a book where it's not quite John's face. But she was a little bit stumped of, oh, what can I get, Ben? So she messaged James, and James was like, oh, he likes the Mandalorian. Why don't you get him a Mandalorian? And I've ended up with Beskar Mando, and I love him. And then you can't have Mando Space Dad without little Space Son, can you? You can't have little Grogu. So, yeah, there he is. Little tiny thing. 11 quid. Bit steep, I will say.
There's a couple of accessories as well, but even then...
Granted, he's got a fair bit of movement within him. Yeah.
Didn't he say he has better articulation than some of the B&Ms?
Yeah, I'd say so. No, but I'm quite surprised he's got like little ball jointed feet. Like who would have thought he'd have little ball jointed feet and little arms and all that? So I was like, oh, he's quite impressive. And like,
can he pose him like slightly looking up then?
Oh yeah,
like his you see on some of the photo.
Yeah, his head can like move up and down, so you can have him pointing it up. Oh, his head's popped off.
Oh no!
Oh no! Pop it back on. No, there we go. You can see him pointing up.
Yeah.
Just trundling along. So he's good, and he's good. And then while I was in FP, I saw the builder pack of the Arvola 7, and I was like, oh, that's kind of a key moment for Mando and Grogu, because it's like the moment what cements them together. Because that's the moment Grogu saves Mando. So I was like, you know what? I'll get that as well, and get the cool pram, and you get him doing the magic hand thing. As Grief Karga says.
Yeah. Is that eyes closed as well in that?
Yeah, he's got his little eyes. His little eyes closed on that. Probably can't see, but there he is. Doing his little magic thing. He's very cool. Nice. So yeah. Oh, hello, Siri. I don't want to call her.
Brilliant.
But yeah, that's been my little rabbit hole. I've been watching Mando. I've just started series 2, and it's so bloody good, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's so good. I love it. But
I definitely need to go back and rewatch season 1 start to finish. It's been a fair while.
I think just getting the figure, I was like, oh, I'll go and rewatch it, and I've just probably spent more time watching Mando than I've been having Doctor Who and listening to Big Finish, which I feel. It feels nice to jump back in the world of Doctor Who tonight just to talk about Cyberman Stories, because I've been focusing on another Tin Man.
I think it's good, isn't it, to have breaks from Doctor Who every once in a while, and then when you do come back, you have a bit more of an appreciation for it.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's good. I think it's healthy to have a break from it.
I mean, I'm debatably having a break from it.
Okay.
I've been, going through Sarah Jane Adventures quite heavily, so it's a different show. It's still the same universe. It's still connected. I've had the Doctor there a couple of times. I finished Death of the Doctor now, so halfway through The Empty Planet. Just got 5.5 more stories to go there, and then that's it. I'm all done.
Then you can do a Sarah Jane tier list.
Yeah. I mean, I've watched them all before, but yeah, it does feel a bit emotional getting to the end of it again.
So I feel like when it got to series 5, I have no memory of watching the last series of Sarah Jane.
Oh.
I don't think I've properly watched it. I saw like the one Sky was introduced, but I think I was at an age where I was like, I'm too cool for this.
Fair enough. I suppose it's like introducing the new main child character as well. You sort of feel a bit more like,
I've seen that.
yeah, it's going back round again to pick up the new generation, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah. So I suppose you think good time to hop off in a way. But yeah, that the 5th series shocked me, to be honest, in the sense that it existed, because with the passing of Elizabeth Sladen, I wasn't as on the pulse with things back then. So I just assumed, series 4's it. And then suddenly just caught a trailer of it and found out that the series was halfway through already. So that was a bit of a shock.
I mean, I would like to go back to it at some point, but again, it's time.
Yeah,
It's time a minute, because there's a lot of nostalgia for Sarah Jane, because it was that sort of nice sort of break from when you had Doctor Who in like the spring, and then autumn you had Sarah Jane to lead you right up until the Christmas special, really.
Yeah, and Sarah Jane was perfectly timed, because it was always like September-ish, wasn't it? Right as you were going back to school. So I think
that's why it worked with Series 1 with Revenge of Slovene.
Yeah, like that being the start of school, that was perfect.
But yeah, it was all good.
Yeah, and I don't think there's not really been a dud, I would say, on my rewatch.
So I think Sarah Jane's probably the most consistent TV spin-off.
So,
compared to Torchwood.
Most consistent show in general, really, when you consider Doctor Who.
Oh, true, yeah.
Has had its up and down. So yeah, it's in the Whoniverse, I guess it. Yeah, like the characters were well fleshed out instantly, and so each episode does have like a part to play involving the characters. It feels specifically written for them, not just any old story with them slotted in. And certainly, Nightmare Man, that one really blew me away with how good that one was.
That's Joseph Lister, isn't it?
Yeah. But that hits you hard in that first episode, where a lot of it, there's not too much plot. It's just Luke's anxiety about university. And I think it's weird watching that now, because the last time I would have watched it was ages before I even started my A-levels, let alone before I went to uni. So maybe even before probably before I did my GCSE as well. So
Blimey.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure I haven't watched it much since it was first on. Like, I probably watched it once when I got the Blu-ray, and then so yeah, that was sort of an interesting experience, going at it from one end and then watching it from the other side of uni, so to speak. So yeah, I suppose I'm relating to the characters a lot more now, because when I was watching them, I was like younger than them all, whereas now, now I'm older than the characters are meant to be. So yeah, it's been an interesting experience.
I mean, I guess it's timed quite nicely, because you've got the 8th of March with Rani coming back. So maybe once you finish Sarah Jane, you'll have a appreciation of her coming back.
Yeah, that was like one of the other reasons that I decided to have this rewatch now, really. Yeah, having Rani back got me in the mood, I suppose.
Yeah, I've not listened to that story yet. I mean, I've not really started the 8th of March properly. I'm like 10 minutes into the Roman story.
What theme does it use?
It's got its own theme. I think the whole box set's got its own identity in terms of a theme.
Oh, that's interesting. I'm not sure. I feel, because they did the same thing with Peladon, and it worked out there. But I expected them to do like what the first 8th of March did, and just use the themes from each series.
I guess maybe they wanted to push this one a bit more, because I think the first 8th of March, it didn't go down too well, I don't think, in terms of reviews.
No, I think I've heard that it's just like one good story and then the rest are meandering.
I don't know if it's the same for this box set, because I've not finished it. I've not even listened to the first box set either. Not that you need to, but
no, they're not really tied together.
They're not.
I mean,
it's just. Go on.
how much this actually ties into it being set on the 8th of March? Because that was one of the gimmicks of the first box set, was that each story was actually set on a 8th of March, wasn't it?
Oh, was it? I didn't know that.
Yeah. But I suppose with the Romana story, you can't really have that. Like, it's in E-space. March isn't a thing.
Yeah.
And then, yeah. And I suppose the other two stories kind of ties in, but
I mean, it
yeah, I
makes you
imagine
think.
they dropped that.
I mean, maybe if it's got its own little theme, it does link in some way, maybe. But
I mean, yeah, I suppose the title is Protectors of Time, isn't it? But that's just like a general Friends of the Doctor type.
yeah, it's like
Children of Time. that
yeah,
sort of-
from Soul and Earth. Yeah, Journey's End.
Just a more general way of putting it. But yeah, I think hopefully it's just a nice way to connect 3 different stories together that maybe wouldn't work as well on their own as a full spin-off.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be my first chance experiencing Lady Christina.
Did you ever get the 10th Doctor Chronicles?
It's one of those ones what I've been tempted to, but then I'm sort of a bit. Well, we've got Tennant. Do I need it?
I think the one thing that made me think maybe was the John Coleshaw as the Slovene. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, that would be good. That would be good.
Yeah.
I mean, if it goes on sale and it's a price that is tempting, I probably would get it.
Because you're the one who's big on the Chronicles at the moment.
Yeah, I've got the 12. Well, yeah, the 11th Doctor ones. I've still not listened to the second 11th Doctor ones yet. Actually, I feel like the 9th Doctor one I'd probably get when it goes on like one of those clearances.
I looked at that the other day, and it was 2015 that came out.
I thought it was
or
it
16. 16,
yeah.
mate. I'll have a check. Still, it's old.
It's amazing, really, how far we've sort of come with that.
Yeah.
We're at a point
17.
70. Oh, that's still half a decade.
Yeah. I think I'm forgetting where we are now as well. We're in 2022.
It's easily done. It's easily done.
I mean, we've had the new logo since 2018.
Oh, blimey.
That's been all over the covers.
Yeah, maybe for a John Coleshaw birthday sale, they put it on sale. That'd be good.
I suppose a Lady Christina sale it'll probably go on.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? I might be a massive fan of her at the end.
Yeah.
Of the time.
You might be catching up on them all.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do hope we hear the Slovene again, like in a proper Doctor Who story.
I'd quite like a Ten and Rose story.
Yeah.
Because I
think that's what it is in the Chronicles.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Because I remember, like, in The Entertainer, they did like a Rose, Doctor, and Slovene. I was like, oh, that'd be a nice little story.
Yeah, I do think, Rose or Donna, I'd say. I don't think the Slovene quite fits season 3's tone.
I feel like Donna would get. You could get some good stuff with, like, Donna.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be very cool.
So it's all down to Catherine Tate or Billie Piper's availability.
I mean, she's doing more Dimension canon, yeah. Well, David's the big one, isn't he?
Yeah.
There's that whole other David Tennant project what we haven't heard yet, and I don't think it's complete, so we might be waiting a little bit longer for that.
Well, we've still got a few months to go before 10th Doctor Classic Companions.
I forget that exists because it's so far.
Yeah, it's still a way away. That'll be the same month as we get the second 40 set. It feels like ages since the first 40
It does,
set.
yeah. And that's
also, it feels like the year's flying past. I don't know. Something's wrong with time.
It's dissolving.
Right. Hello, stylish one. Yeah.
Hello.
Sorry. Yeah, I've been there for quite a while, but yeah, we just got around to looking at the chat.
Little rabbit hole going down.
I'm afraid John Coleshaw isn't a Slovene. He's in the second story, and the Slovene are in the first, and voiced by Jacob Dudman. There we go. Thank you for clearing that up.
Well, that's a bit off by it.
I mean, hopefully we get John Coleshaw as the Slovene and something else.
Will he work as Third Doctor?
I don't. Yeah, I mean, you can't really have it be Slovene. It'd have to be like Ulla Raxkoriko.
Yeah, it'd be something like that.
Yeah. I'm not really sure if the Slovene suit classic who that maybe Sixth Doctor I could see him working with, or Fifth.
Season
They're more
24.
80s. Yeah.
Season 24, you can pop them in.
Yeah. I mean, they have actually already done Fifth Doctor technically.
Yeah. With Madquake.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I do like me some Slovene.
They're sort of a forgotten monster now, really, aren't they?
Yeah, that's true. They have been left behind a bit. I think with the Weeping Angels and everything sort of taking over as the main villain introduced by New Who, they did just get left behind.
Because if you think about it, they were such a big part of branding Doctor in like the early days.
Like you had that iconic image of a Slovene and Eccleston outside the TARDIS, didn't you?
Yeah, and then Sarah Jane, they're very much the monster of Sarah Jane, and I guess Sarah Jane kept them in the psyche. But I think after Sarah Jane sort of went, they sort of left, and you see like people memeing a Slovene. You're like, do they even know what a Slovene is?
Yeah, it's like that meme where it's those three baby faces or like puppy eye faces, and they're saying, when I put this is what I mean. And then it's the picture of them from Sarah Jane Adventures with the baby Slovene in the middle.
So it's amazing, like people have seen Sarah Jane and they've not seen Doctor Who, so it's crazy, really.
Yeah. I suppose that with the Slovene themselves, they sort of got relegated into the spin-off, I'd say. Yeah. And so then when the spin-off ended, it almost would have felt wrong to bring him back, maybe was the thinking.
But yeah, I don't think they would have suited Smith.
Yeah.
Or definitely not Capaldi.
No. It's weird to think how much the Slovene, how much the Sarah Jane Adventure, did overlap with the Matt Smith era, though.
Yeah, but Russell was still involved with Doctor in like the circle of Doctor Who, even when he left, really.
Yeah, because Sarah Jane Adventure still feels very Russell Who right up to the end. Like it didn't adopt any Moffatisms in a sense. And to be fair, Series 5 of Doctor Who still felt like RTD influence, didn't it?
It sounded like a similar structure, really, didn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't like a sudden switch up. It was like a gradual change for Moffat. But yeah, it's. And then Torchwood Miracle Day sort of went off and did its own somewhat American thing. But yeah. One other thing that shocked me while watching The Nightmare Man was the Slovene in that. I'd completely forgotten there was right at the start. It's the very green one. Like, you know, it's like looks extra green. It's not like the limey green. It's more the standard green. I think because in detective work on here, in Revenge and The Lost Boy, you only ever see 2 adult Slovene and then 1 kid Slovene. Then when you get round to the Gift, you see a kid Slovene out of their skin, but the adult Slovene is still in their skin right up until the end of their little bit at the start of that story. And then the Blaverine come along, 2 of them. So I'm assuming they took the same costumes, sprayed them the orangey colour, and then for the Nightmare Man, sprayed it back to green, but didn't quite get the right shade of green. But thought it's a cameo, it doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah, they ain't gonna know.
It's just like a weird little thing, but yeah. I mean, I could be wrong there, but I feel like that's a educated guess at why that Slovene looks a bit off.
I mean, I feel like the Sarah Jane Slovenes looked a bit cheap for me. Like I feel like the Eccleston ones are just like the perfect. Maybe because they just I didn't like the color of them. Maybe because they just didn't seem to match the TV ones what I've seen with Eccleston. To be honest.
Yeah, I think they had like the red neck thing as
Yeah,
well.
the ID
it like
tags.
looked a bit cheaper. Yeah.
Which maybe I was just my pernickety brain just going, oh, that doesn't look right.
I mean, isn't the baby Slovene on one of the 10th Doctor novels covers? Or it's like the stone Slovene. It's like the Slovene excursion.
Yeah, it was part of like the specials book where they did like the taking of like Chelsea something, Judgment of the
Yeah.
Jadoon. Is it the they did a Krillitane one? Is it Krillitane Code or something?
Crittane Code? Or is that the junior readers one?
They've definitely done 2
Yeah.
Krillitane books. They did a quick,
Autonomy, is it? The autumn
yeah,
one?
Autonomy. Prisoner of the Daleks, that's like a big heavy hitter from that.
Yeah, that's the only one of those ones I've read. Like
That's
the
meant to
10th
be
Doctor specials ones.
it's meant to be one of the best new series books, I think, from what people have said.
Yeah, I remember it being quite. That's about 10 years ago, to be fair, that I read that. So let's have a look at what we got here. Looked up on Wikipedia. Come on, give me a list of them.
But yeah, we don't seem to get those books anymore, really, which is a bit of a shame.
Yeah, they're like wound down quite a bit with the 13th Doctor and stopped altogether.
So I would like to get some 13 Yaz and Dan books.
Yeah.
So that'd be cool.
But it's also just a shame, like the novels in general seem to be like they need a big drawing point. Like they're one-off specials, aren't they? There's like no ongoing releases like there used to be.
Yeah, they seem to do like, here's a guest author from the show. So we had Alex Kingston last year. And then, at Childhood End, Scratchman, that seems to be like the new format, I guess, getting somebody from the show to write it, and that's a way of marketing it.
Yeah.
But it's a shame, really, because it was always sort of nice because sort of halfway through a series, you'd get free tie-in novels, which I think was a good way of doing it, to be honest. Because it gives a presence in the shop.
Yeah. I found them. So it's the first wave was Judgment of the Jadoon, Slovene Excursion, and Prisoner of the Daleks. That was April. So that would have been right around the time of the first special, Planet of the Dead. And then it's Taking of Chelsea 426, Autonomy, and Krillitane Storm. So Krillitane Code must have been the other one.
The quick read.
Yeah. And then there's also the Eyeless.
Yeah, I've read that one.
Yeah, but that's like. Oh, so it's like a wave of 3 that was one with Martha, the story of Martha.
Probably better than the Big Finish box set.
Then there's like a random 10th Doctor, Donna, and Wilf one.
Oh, Beautiful Chaos. Yeah. I don't know if I can say it. I don't know if you're going to say
to a certain classic story, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then the Eyeless. And apparently, I mean, it's been out for a fair while now, so Mask of Mandragora is the one that's a sequel to, isn't it?
Oh, damn, you've ruined that book for me now. I'm not going to read it. It's not like I've got on my shelf for like a couple of years.
Yeah. I mention this because wasn't the what's it called? Secrets of the Stars, Sarah Jane Adventures episode, that was originally meant to be a sequel, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think
it
had elements where you think, oh, it's going to be Mandragora. And I think this is even before I saw Mandragora, because that came out in 2010 in the DVD line.
Yeah. Because like there's certainly the elements there of astrology and everything.
And like the red as well.
But yeah, it does
the
end
red
up being separate. I wonder why they chose against that.
Maybe it was like too deep cut, maybe?
I don't know, but you could like get away with it still and just say, something Sarah's encountered before. That's it. I mean, apparently they were planning.
Oh, go on.
For the series 4 finale, I only found out recently that was meant to be a sequel to Planet of the Spiders.
Oh, damn.
But they just couldn't get it to work, so they had to quickly write Goodbye Sarah Jane in a hurry instead.
Oh, jeez. So I was thinking in terms of like the Mandragora, maybe it would have been too much having Sontaran than the Mandragora.
Yeah, that could be it. I mean, that's probably one of the weaker ones from Sarah Jane Adventures. I still had a good time with it, but didn't click with it as much as I have most others. Hello, Ben Miller.
Hello.
Ben Miller asks, which recurring monster / villain from the classic era of Doctor Who would you love to see return in the future? We're running out of them, aren't we?
Yeah,
Now
we've
Sea
got
Devil's
the main one. Yeah, I was going to say Sea Devils has always been one of those ones. Ooh.
I feel like there's ones where I'll watch the story and think, oh, that'd be good to have back, and then like I can't think of off the top of my head.
I feel like Omega's sort of a safe bet.
Yeah. I'm hoping that Russell does do his like direct sequel to the story. Like he meant when he was asked a while back, what is the thing you most regret about your time not doing during your time on the show? One of the things he came up with was doing a proper sequel to a classic story, like having that classic story run on BBC4 or whatever throughout the week, building up to it.
Well, he said he wanted to do a Fendel, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the example he came up with. So you think he could do something like that, maybe?
I'd definitely be down for that. I think the Fendel would be a good one. Or the Wirren. The Wirren would be nice.
Oh, yeah.
Because I remember that. Oh, go.
Maybe like some other less well-known monsters, similar to what he did with the Macra, and sort of reinvent them as something, or like maybe the Vord or something, bring them back as a big threat. So I feel like with a lot of comic book movies now, as they've worked through the heavy hitters, they're sort of having to go more and more obscure with the villains they bring in. Like, I mean, Starro was the villain, or not quite villain, but a threat in the Suicide Squad movie by James Gunn, and that's like a fairly deep cut in a way, like a more ridiculous monster that you wouldn't expect to appear on the big screen. And so Doctor Who doing something similar to that, taking a classic Who monster that maybe is a bit more silly and trying to put a different spin on that, I think that could be a interesting experiment.
Yeah, because you do forget that the Macra have come back. And considering the Macra Terror, still is missing.
I think that's 55th anniversary today, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Happy anniversary, Macra Terror.
Yeah.
There is still no such thing as Macra.
No. Just like racking my brains for other.
The Mandrill?
Yeah.
The Nightmare?
Maybe Axons.
Axon or the Daemon, yeah. The Daemons would be good.
Nice.
But then I feel like when you get to like monsters like that, you feel like they're kind of sacred.
And also they're sometimes quite story specific.
Most
of them Big Finish were already brought back anyway. I mean, we're getting another Axos story later this year, as we already mentioned, 10th Doctor, Classic Companions.
Yeah, I feel like with us being into Big Finish, the fact of monsters returning don't seem that big of a deal because we're like, oh, we've got this whole expanded media behind us. Really.
Ooh, Stylish One's come up with a good one here. Bring back the Routons. Yeah, they're one of the. You almost forget they're in Classic Who in general.
I mean, they did come back in the Gunpowder plot. That was a good game.
Yeah. And Ben Miller says, I would love to see Russell T Davies bring back the Rani in the future. I mean, yeah, if we're going to do another Time Lords, maybe not have it be the Master for a while, unless you're keeping Sasha Dewan on.
I hope so.
How things go there.
I do hope so. Yeah. Yeah, we've never had a proper like Sontaran versus Routons, have we? On screen.
No, not really.
So maybe that would be nice. Maybe that'd be cool to have.
Yeah, that's one of the. It's all like the memory cheats a bit, doesn't it? There, you think surely that would have happened at some point, given how much they reference each other, but no. Stylish One also says the monsters inside Ninth Doctor 3 novel is referenced in Boomtown.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah,
that's one of the other few novels that I've actually read
And that one I have quite good memories of.
The Monk on
one.
Yeah, the series 1 books have got sort of that edgy quality to the books. What sort of I think gets lost in the other ones. I think it's sort of playing into like the EDA's Virgin New Adventure sort of type.
Yeah, it's all like it's an unknown quantity Doctor Who at that point, isn't it? People didn't quite know how it was going to be brought back. I think Eccleston or like the Ninth Doctor in it is a bit more confrontational, I suppose, like physically so.
They're probably like, oh, he's Northern. He can handle himself in a fight. Let's just make him violent. The Monk on TV played by Matt Berry or Rufus Hound. I'd love Matt Berry to be the Doctor, to be honest. I like Matt Berry. But I think Matt Berry was meant to play the Monk in Series 9.
Oh, yeah. Like, that was Mark Gatiss, wasn't it?
I think it was the person who did the Zygon.
Oh, yeah, that.
Because I think
Peter
it was
Harness?
either Peter Harness, because it was either going to be a Mara story. That would be a good one to come back, actually.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Zygons or the Monk. But
I'm not sure how I feel about them choosing the Zygon. So,
I mean, I like that two-parter, so I don't feel too cheated.
I do feel like what could have been though.
I'm sure Big Finish will get onto it. Get the Lost Stories involved.
Yeah.
We'll be all fine.
Oh, Judgment of the Doom was pretty brutal. Oh.
Was that Colin Brake? He did a joke on that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we've still got like the list up here. I mean, I think Prisoner of the Daleks, that was pretty brutal as well, actually. I saw like a proto-Dalek universe, come to think about it. Has similar vibes to it.
I'll read that and then do all the Dalek universe stuff. That'll be a good way to do it, wouldn't it? And then you slot in Destiny of the Daleks up until that as well. Yeah, why not? Go all out.
Might as well. But yeah, I suppose, is it time we brought ourselves to the news now?
Yeah, let's do a bit of news, bit of Big Finish news. Even though it's not a Big Finish fan, we will still cover the old news.
Yeah. Otherwise, we'll have so much built up by the time we get to the next Big Finish fans. We'll be overwhelmed.
Right, so if we get on the old news page.
Right. We can still have it be a general Doctor Who news thing, but there hasn't been that much, other than you mentioned before we start recording. Russell T Davies got you a birthday present, didn't he?
Yeah, he was at the studios, Babel Studios. So, again, can't really comment, but we can happily say that Doctor Who under Russell Davies is in production, I would say.
But I think he's mentioned he's well on working on the scripts as well. So
that's just an exciting thought that there are new Russell T Davies Doctor Who scripts out there. And people are reading it now and going, "Oof, this is exciting." And we're not gonna know about those scripts for at least another 2 years.
Yeah, some of them probably. But yeah, I think he'll start talking more openly after like the centenary, probably.
Yeah,
he doesn't want to take too much focus away from that, but he's certainly much more present on social media and such, and much more open in terms of marketing than Chibnall was.
I mean, he's blocking people on Instagram because it's like, oh, like this comment if you've cast the new Doctor or some stuff like that. He's just like, oh no,
it's getting too much for me now.
Getting too much, but yeah, I do like Russell.
Yeah, yeah. Did we talk about Stranded last time? I can't.
We did indeed.
Oh, 20. God, that's almost 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, our last one we did was on the 1st of March.
Yeah. Yeah, we did talk about Rufus Hound in
Yeah, we did Rufus Hound.
Got a trailer for that now, though.
Yeah, 4-minute trailer. Yeah. They're definitely going for the longer trailers now, like Fourth Doctor Solo.
Yeah, I feel like Fourth Doctor, it's standard to have those longer trailers because they do split it like right down the middle, one story to the next.
That was a
Yeah.
very good trailer.
Yeah, I would admit there were times with the first Doctor trailer where I was like thinking, who? Only halfway through the first Doctor's line, I realised it was the first Doctor speaking.
Blimey.
It's, I don't know. Hopefully, it's one of those things where it'll do better in the context of the full thing, because an audio trailer specifically is hard to do.
Well, it's like Michael Troughton. Trailer didn't really do him justice, but listening to him in The Annihilator's like, oh, I hear it.
Yeah.
We had Unit Nemesis, Agents of Volprine. Again, another birthday present for Big Finish. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I've not listened to it yet.
I've started the first one now, actually. I'm halfway through that.
How are you finding that?
Not too bad. I'm liking the 11 in it. Or like,
Yeah,
well,
he's
the
good.
first story. It's not.
I think that's why I probably vibe with that, because after the 6th Doctor 11 box set, I was sort of like, oh, I'm really done with 11 as a character. But then I listened to Unit Nemesis, like, oh, that's why I like the character.
He's very much the highlight of that, really.
Mm.
And then, I mean, Harry and Naomi were pretty good, but I don't. It does feel weird not having him with the 4th Doctor yet. Like, especially this early on advance. I feel like I can't click with Naomi yet until I get her in her own element for a start, because they've been taken out of time for whatever reason. It's an odd way of going about it.
I think that's one of the clever ways of them doing it, going, hey, you want to hear these characters? When, hey, get this set, and then you can wait a couple of years for Tom.
Yeah, it almost feels like you're waiting too long for it.
So you feel like, I know these characters now, and then you're just meeting them again when it gets to whenever that box set comes out.
Especially because it wasn't necessarily planned this way. It was like they wrote and produced all of that 4th Doctor stuff ages ago, got it in the can, and then moved on from it.
Yeah, still exciting stuff.
Yeah, I think still 2 fairly solid stories to start off with. It was quite wholesome when the Ice Warriors offered them a lift back to England at the end.
Yeah,
I'll say that.
It was a nice little twist of having the Ice Warriors in a hot location in the Outback.
Yeah. It's weird
little...
listening to the extras, though, hearing the producer talk about how, I like this idea of Unit Australia working with Unit UK and having this Unit assembled type feel, and thinking, Unit Australia aren't even in this, really. Like, you got one pilot who has maybe 2 lines, and then that's it for Unit Australia. They're not in the story.
I mean, you get some dodgy Aussie accents, but it makes sense in the story.
Yeah, it's meant to be somewhat dodgy, but
yeah.
And that's also a weird way to be introduced to Naomi's character, actually. The first time you hear her, you don't even know it's her. It's just some random Australian.
Yeah, because you like it would work on a visual thing, but not on audio.
Especially for a character you haven't met.
Wow. Never mind.
It's had its ups and downs. Mainly it's the second story that I was a bit shaken by. The first story went on a bit, but I feel like I'm intrigued as to where it's going to go with the arch and such. So just got 11 to 11 and then Curator's Gambit to go. So I'm looking forward to some Tom.
Oh, can't go wrong with Tom, Luke, can you? Unless it's Philip Hinchcliffe presents.
Yeah. Is it going to be Colin in like Unit Nemesis Frito?
Yeah. They're going to change Curator now?
I don't know. Get
Davidson
Still in there, maybe?
Maybe. Who knows?
Get Tim in there, that'd be interesting.
I can see that, though. I can see that working.
Yeah, I think the only thing is with the Curator, you need like a visually older version of a Doctor you already know.
Get a 90s Pertwee on the cover.
Yeah. Like, you can't really have McGann because he still looks young enough to play the Doctor.
You can't age him up.
No.
Maybe like Eccleston.
Yeah, like he's aged more than McGann has since he played the Doctor. And there's almost 10 years between those two.
Plumbing heck.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Poor Eccleston. Hard.
Oh, what a man.
Yeah, I suppose Second Doctor Companion Chronicles got a cover for that.
Yeah. I thought it was Beyond the War Games at first glance of the cover because I saw the barbed wire and like the soldier, and then it told me I was like, oh, it's for the Companion Chronicles set.
Yeah, it almost like you think that's coming out next month. Surely we already had a cover for it, but no.
No, here it is, and I like it. I think it is a nice cover.
Yeah, it's you can tell it's by Oliver Chinnery, the same artist who did the Peladon cover, because it just look. It's got the similar style to the Peladon cover, like it's that same green
Characters in the line,
same light. Yeah,
yeah. That's a standard thing for Big Finish covers now. Here are your characters.
Yeah, I think at least with this cover, like that border going down at the bottom isn't as off-putting. It feels natural the way it fades to solid green.
Yeah.
You got a new series Dalek.
Yeah, an Ironside. It looks like an Ironside.
Perhaps. It's so like weirdly faded out there. It almost makes it look like a movie Dalek.
Yeah, with the big dome lights. Yeah, but it looks like the dome light, the ear covers from the start of Victory of the Daleks.
Yeah,
like the blackout covers.
But it doesn't seem to have any of the other Ironside bits on it though, like around the mid sections. So.
No, it doesn't.
I wonder if it's maybe just like the fact that it's faded into green that makes you
think it. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I can swear it's a new a classic series Eye Stalk as well though.
Let's have a little zoom in. Yeah, it does look the way the rings are. Yeah, I can see that.
But then, is it like the white light that's?
Yeah, flaring it up.
Yeah, I'm excited for this set.
Yeah, and isn't it meant to be the last one?
Yeah, very probably. I think they're moving away from it a bit. It's weird that they call it full cast audio drama, the top of the cover there.
That'll probably get changed. I mean, at least it doesn't have that little awful little sticker on releases.
I think they've moved away from that now. They've thought, you're getting full cast audio drama on the top of everything now, which is weird because like it used to be on some things, but not like the box sets. And then suddenly it's now on everything, even the spin-offs and stuff.
I'm just curious to know if it's got a slipcase. No, it doesn't have a slipcase. I was thinking because, the relaunch, everything's going to be in a slipcase, but no.
I suppose because it was like announced so long ago. It's sort of,
I mean, I guess it lends itself to being a slipcase because I can see that Second Doctor being slipped.
Yeah, that would suit well. But I suppose we'll have to wait a little bit longer for our Second Doctor slipcase.
Yeah, that's that. And then next bit of news we have Avengers. If that's your thing, that's out now.
Yeah.
We have a new Barusa for the Unbound.
All right. Great actor, so good choice for the role.
I mean, the more I hear about the Unbound stuff, the more I'm like, oh, this could be something quite special because it feels like they're throwing everything at it. So it makes you feel like, oh, this is going to be something quite special to listen to.
Almost worried that it's too much in just the 3 episodes. But at least we have gotten on a box set, so maybe things can be carried on there.
Might have a bit of a cliffhanger ending, maybe.
Oh, I imagine so.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And we won't have as long to wait for a change.
No.
Only September. Yeah. It's not going to be like some of the Strandeds or 5th Doctor 40.
It's weird how they prioritize different releases. Whether that's down to the scheduling, I don't know. Or just the sheer hype of a release, I don't know. But
yeah, perhaps.
They've definitely got it to a fine thing with like the Eccleston stuff, really. How it's a couple months off, there's your Eccleston. I think that's a good format to have, to be honest. Yeah, it keeps the momentum.
Yeah, 4th Doctor and 6th Doctor as well are sticking to that. There's like 3 months between their different releases.
That's not too bad. But I mean, with Colin, you're not exactly going to miss him this year.
No. I've got enough Colin to keep you going.
You've got your season 22, you got all the Big Finish. So if you love Colin Baker, you're 2022 is the year for you.
Hmm.
Without having said some otherwise. The day to go. We've got River Song news as well, which is nice.
Yeah, bit of a different one this time. Like you think 10th series, they might go for a bit more celebratory in a sense. Like I was expecting a Doctor to be involved in some way, especially after new recruit.
Colin.
Yeah, again, Tennant.
Yeah,
We can
Tennant
hope.
would be nice.
10 for 10, but I'm actually happy with this news, to be honest.
Yeah, as we have Dave back, isn't it? Or the other Dave.
Yeah, like I did like my series 7, where that was more disconnected from Doctor Who. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how this one plays out. We've got our favourite tortured writers back.
Yeah, from
Laura
Grey
Mooney
Mare.
and- Yeah, Stuart Pringle.
Is
Barnaby
it?
Case writing for the first time. He's done a lot of acting and directing. So now he's in the writer's chair for the last one.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Tim Foley, that'd be good because he's a solid writer.
Yeah, like River visiting her own tomb. It seems like, yeah, some interesting stuff. Something a bit different for the range, hopefully. I wouldn't mind seeing her in the spacesuit on the cover, actually. Like having that.
That would
look.
be a nice change of pace, wouldn't it? Really? On the
Yeah.
cover. Yeah, I'd definitely be there for that. But yeah, again, this will be a purchase, a Ray purchase.
Nah. Yeah, to slip it in there.
I have to slip it in there. But yeah, I'm excited for it because I love the Library two-parter. I think that's one of my favourite Tennant stories. So it'd be nice to revisit that, rewatch it in preparation. But yeah, it'd be an interesting set. And obviously, you're a big River Song fan, and I'm sure we'll cover it and we'll update the tier list as well.
Oh yeah, we'll have to do that as well.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add on River?
I'm happy that it's August. Like we're not getting these last-minute announcements again, although I'm sure there will be some more of them.
Imagine if it was April.
I'd almost be thankful for something like Terrorhawks now, just so that it can pad out the other months, and I can think I don't have to buy that. I'm fine.
Yeah, there's something quite nice just going, I don't need to worry about, like you said, having the Avengers. I'm like, oh, I don't need to worry about that. That's not my thing.
But there's already so much in March anyway.
Yeah. So you got what, Hodiak still to come, Fourth Doctor. Yeah, there's still a lot of good things to come.
Yeah. It's weird to complain about too much of a good thing, but yeah, certainly.
First world problems.
Yeah. Our wallets are suffering a bit. Which is like painful to hand over the money, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, mine's suffering even more because I bought the big bundle and I thought I'd be saving, because I got the big bundle, that's me for Big Finish that year. But now they're just going, here's some little extra bits you can buy. And, I'm a sucker for it.
Yeah, so many little extra. I mean, it probably like doubles in price by the end of it, doesn't it?
Pretty much, yeah.
But
I'll go on.
Yeah, if you want to save money though, and you are okay with download only, a very recent release, Doctor Who Peladon, has ended up on sale for $13.33 for download. Somehow, like that's cheaper than some of the other stuff they've got on sale, which is much older.
I mean, for the price of that, you get McGann singing, and to be honest, for 13 quid to hear McGann sing Haroon Haroon, worth your money.
No. Oh, Stylish One's also pointed out something interesting here. This seems to be the originally planned Diary of River Song Series 8. There's more stories about technology and robots in it. Yeah, that adds up.
Okay.
Yeah, I wonder if what's the actor's name? Like his availability was Harry Peacock.
Yeah.
Yeah. If his availability was what pushed that back.
Yeah, probably that makes sense, to be honest.
Yeah. Or some other actors we don't yet know about.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. I wonder if there'll be like a surprise reveal on the cover. Like so because we didn't know about Tim until we got the new recruit cover. Yeah. Who did? Was that a
Tom
Webster job? Yeah.
So be somebody taking over the river covers now, I guess.
Did Tom Webster do every single river cover?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Looks like it probably is.
Yeah. Oh, that's going to be interesting. Yeah, he's just like he's only just switched up the style, and now someone else is going to come along.
Oh, damn!
I could see Rafe Wallbank, who took over the what's Stranded cover, Stranded Floor.
Okay.
I think that his style could suit River Song. Yeah, I suppose we'll see. We might not get that cover till July.
No, because the way they're working at it at the minute, yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, I suppose. Is that the last? Yeah, that's the last news.
That's the last bit of news. That's the last bit of news we've had.
Yeah. Oh, Tortured One trailer.
Yeah.
That's all.
I've not listened to it, so I can't comment on it. But I'm sure it's very good. I guess it's on to the main event. We've meandered around it long enough.
Yeah, been nattering for an hour.
As we do.
Just about.
Yeah. Evening, Harry. How are you? And I will put the old tier list up, and you can do your classic introduction. Hopefully, we won't offend many of you tonight, as we did on the Dalek one. I feel like we're pretty safe with this. Maybe it'd be interesting to know. I feel like when we get to the new series ones, I feel like that's when me and you will probably go different directions.
Perhaps.
We'll have to see. But here is a tier list.
Here we go. So starting at the top tier, we have an excellent story, of course. What else could it be? And then referencing Revenge of the Cybermen, we have a magnificent spectacle. Followed by a Moonbase reference. Only stupid Earth brains like ours would be entertained. In need of an upgrade, referencing multiple new series stories there. You know, it's the type of one that it's got all the workings of a good story, but it needed something more to boost it up. Delete, self-explanatory. And finally, have you no redeeming qualities, sir? Grasp your lapels and get ready for that one.
Which ties into our first story very nicely, the 10th planet.
Oof. You're not going that low, are you?
No, well, I wasn't going to go that low. I was just trying to make a nice little segue going. It's from the lines from the 10th planet, so try and segue in, but
I mean, we've sort of given the game away a bit there, though. We're not the biggest fans of this story.
I feel like it's one of those stories. It's held in high regard because it's a regeneration story.
Also, the first Cyberman story.
Yeah, and I don't think as well it's a good send off for Hartnell because he's not in it that much. So I feel like that's where it suffers as well.
Yeah, I mean, some of that's also just down to him collapsing during episode 3. I think he had another.
There's episode 2 because he's not in episode 3 at all, is he?
Yeah.
Is it a body double? Because there's a body double at the start.
Yeah, a body double collapses, and then that's it. He's whisked off to the sick room.
Like the Cybermen, they're good because they have their own identity, which I think's something what's sort of been lost but brought back with Ashad, which was nice. I like the design, but we're not here to tier list the design at all.
Yeah, I think everything about the Cybermen in this story is great, but they're not in it much.
No,
they do like their appearance in part 2 is great. Like that's the main meat of Cybermen you get. That's like when you have the iconic moments with them. And then they're absent for pretty much all of episode 3. And then episode 4, it's sort of like a retread of what they did before attacking the base. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it for them.
But there's some, for me, when Doctor Who Confidential came back and they do like a special on like a returning monster. And I remember just seeing like those Cybermen for the first time and just being sort of in awe of it. And then you watch the story and you're like, oh, it's not as good as what my kid brain made it out to be.
Yeah, it's very much overhyped, like for ourselves, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think it's going to be better than it actually is.
I can feel I can feel people getting angry at us for saying that,
Yeah.
but yeah.
I can see stylish ones having a few things to say about that.
Oh well.
I'd probably say only stupid Earth brains like ours would be entertained.
Yeah, it's a 7 out of 10. It's not bad,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's all right. It's all right.
Mm.
This one I can get behind a lot.
This one's the 10th Planet remade, but better.
Yeah,
It does repeat a lot of similar elements, but they just all seem to work so much better.
I just think the way the Cybermen are in the story, the way they are in the shadows, and I think that's when the Cybermen work at their best, when they're in the shadows and they just strike and then they're gone again. I think,
Yeah, it plays with them very well like that. And then you nicely build up from that to a full-on assault at the end as more ships come down.
Mm.
Yeah, and then having that many suits as well, it's some impressive visuals on the lunar surface.
Like, I'm glad we've got that actually on screen.
And also beautifully recreated an animation.
I think that's another
'Cause it is the
reason why it
cliffhanger.
works, because I love the animation for it, and I think that it's possibly the best animation we've had.
I'd say so. Although I'd say the 10th Planet animation is pretty good too.
10th Planet's good, but I think the Moonbase is just chef kiss.
Yeah, the Moonbase is up to animation at its height, really. It's simplistic but brilliant. It is that nice blend of what we have now and what we had with the invasion.
Yeah.
I think it's like the best elements from both.
I think Troughton has finally found his doctor within this, because when he does there are some corners.
Yeah,
speech,
this is very much
his doctor clicked into place, and you're like, that's all good.
That's also like the first time the Doctor as a character has stated like that as his mission. Like before this point, it was very much let's explore the universe, let's have these fun adventures in history. Whereas here, it's very much a turning point for the show as it becomes more about the monsters, more about fighting the evils that are out there, and righting wrongs and such. This is very much like what the show is now. Really, this is the point where that trajectory is nailed down.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a big episode in that sense. But yeah, the wonderful scenes making the poly cocktail and such.
Well, the Phantom Piper, don't take me.
So we're getting that coming back in
Yeah.
Second Doctor Companion Chronicles. The title of the second episode, I think. So.
Cybermen, please be in it, please.
So we've already got our Daleks. Probably pushing it too much there.
But yeah, it's a good one. I rate it. It's one of my favourite Troughtons.
Yeah, I'd say magnificent spectacle or excellent story.
I'm tempted to go excellent.
I won't stop you.
I think as well the atmosphere, the build up for the Cybermen, how it's just like, oh, it's in the room with us, and then it just like bursts out of out of the cover. It's like, oh, that's a good cliffhanger.
It's brilliant music as well. Just that like that back and forth music on the lunar surface as it pans round. It's just so weird. You can really imagine like a Cyberman behind anything as that music's playing, creeping up on you.
There is that sort of loomingness to it, especially when you get the Cybermen marching on the lunar surface. Like there is that like sort of darkness within the story coming. I like that.
Great stuff. Onto another somewhat overrated but not bad one. The two with a side.
It was my first Troughton, so I do like that.
My first too, actually. I think I watched this when I was quite young. I do remember having nightmares about it, so it's like one of the proper fear factor stories for me. It would have been my first Cybermen one as well, I'm pretty sure. I think I would have done this before Age of Steel.
I think I got the DVD just after the Cyberman 2-parter.
I remember lending the DVD to my friend at one point. Like, she was watching it and saying, oh, yeah, that is pretty scary stuff. Like, that was... I'm pretty sure that was her first classic Who experience. She moved away not long after, so I don't know.
You scared her away?
Yeah, scared her off with the Cybermen.
Oh.
Yeah, it's Yeah, it's one that I have a lot of fond childhood memories of, just being so scared of it, and just like everything seems bigger when you're a child. It's like this whole world that Tomb builds up for you. It feels like this maze that you can get lost in. Whereas when you feel as an adult, you very much see, oh, it's a TV studio, a very impressively done TV studio, but a TV studio nevertheless.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, I think it maybe is one I've watched too much as well.
Yeah,
Over
I think that's one of the
familiarity
things.
breeds that, but I can
'Cause-
still recognize it has a lot going for it and has some flaws.
Because like every time it snows, I'm like, I'll watch Tomb.
It
Like that's just like a natural
is
thing.
pity.
I
Yeah.
was like, bam, put it on. I think what's lovely about part 1 of Tomb, it has sort of that ITV sort of Sunday afternoon viewing to it. I think part 1 has like an Egyptian mummy feel to it. I feel.
Yeah.
It has that sort of like, here's a classic film on Sunday. You've had your big Sunday roast. Here's a little bit of classic drama.
Yeah, there's a lot of good moments in it. I'd say magnificent spectacle for this one.
Yeah, I'd agree because I feel like it's one of those stories where I'm too familiar with for it to be an excellent story, because it is an excellent story, but it's one you've watched so many times, it kind of lessens the shine. But again, there's a lot of childhood connection to that story.
Yeah.
Again, beautiful performances from Troughton, Deborah Watling. With that little talking about family and that's always lovely. And yeah, for the most part, the earliest Troughton story we had in our collections.
Yeah, the only complete Cyberman story in black and white, which is weird when you think, because we got 3 of the other 4 on DVD anyway.
Yeah,
they're mostly complete. It's just like a couple of episodes that got animated. So yeah, you sort of like you forget that this is the only one that you can watch in its entirety.
but you don't mind because the animations for the others are really good, so you do forget it.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. I think especially the invasion, I think because that's such an old animation that's been around for so long, you do forget that it is animated, because that is just how you see that episode.
It's still one of the best, though. Still one of the best.
Yeah, but well, we've got one more to go first. But before that, Stylish Run has said, Tomb is my favourite Cyberman story. Fantastic side characters, a great mystery, Troughton on top form, the Doctor and Jamie holding hands. That is a beautiful little moment. I think that was not ad-libbed. Improvised. That's the word I'm looking for. You're the actor here, you know.
Yeah.
The Cybermen at their best, so phenomenal. I think fantastic side characters as well. I will agree there.
Again, great work by Morris Barry.
Yeah, I'd say that it does probably have better side characters than the Moonbase and 10th Planet. Maybe just because it's a different kind of side characters. Whereas in those, it's very much the base leaders and such, and random personnel just there to sort of fill in roles. Whereas here, you've got characters with an agenda. Yeah, you've got. That's where some of the threats coming from.
Eric Klieg.
Yeah. We're in space now, which is it's an odd one because I've only seen like this story in whole once. Like watching the telly snaps and then the 2 existing episodes. Every other time I'll go back to it, I used to just watch the 2 existing episodes because I think you get enough out of those anyway.
But it's the most time you're getting it.
Yeah. Now I'll stick the little short animation on first as well that came with Macross Error, and then go into the other 2 episodes. But yeah, I think I like it, but it is the weakest of the 60 Cyberman stories.
I'd agree with that. Yeah. I'd agree. I think as well, when you put it into perspective of what we could have got with it, that it would have been a Dalek versus Cybermen story, which I think an interesting story just to visualize how that would have been done. And I think that it would have been a big lost classic then, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but instead it's just sort of like just another Cyberman story is the way to look at this one, really.
And it is one of those ones you forget, and I don't know whether because it's missing you do forget about it, but it's sandwiched between Tomb of the Cybermen and the invasion.
Hmm.
So you just forget about it, really.
Yeah. I quite like the design. I do wish we'd see more of that. I like a big finished cover or something.
I wish we had a figure of it.
Yeah. A very solid introduction for Zoe. Yeah, it is. Yeah. I think it is one of those ones that deserves to be animated as well. Just like so it's on the same level as the others.
It's a no-brainer to get it animated, to be honest.
Yeah. I think hopefully they find a way to do it. Maybe like just animating the 4 missing ones, maybe going back to the older style. Maybe that would be more affordable now.
Yeah, I think so.
But yeah.
We can lose the colour.
Yeah, we don't really need that. I mean, maybe it'd work in the web style. Because I think it's a less textured story in that sense. You won't have anything like the Yeti sticking out. You have quite simple sets to design. Maybe more effort could be. Yeah.
I'm just not a fan of the animation style, so I'm like, ooh.
But I'd take that over nothing.
Would you?
I would, to be fair, especially if they can continue to improve it.
Oh, I don't know. I'll have to be sold on it first before I say yes or no. But
I think there is room for improvement.
Oh,
it's going to be interesting when we get round to our tier list, the animation tier list, because I feel like we're going to have a debate over the web animation.
There's no debate. It's crap.
It is not.
There is nothing to say. It is bad.
It's more visually interesting than a lot.
Am I hearing the right things?
Yeah.
What? Oh no!
It's like it's just the camera work really helps bring stuff to life for me. It's not that I'm not saying it's the best animation ever. I'd say it's middling.
Question that.
But I much prefer it to something like Fury.
No, I disagree there.
Oh, have you gone back to Fury?
No, but I'm tempted to.
I don't Fury. I think you get tricked because it's such a great story, but the animation is just so bland. It's just characters standing in a line. This, at least, you get a dynamic visual take.
Yeah, but you don't get the freaking Roblox.
That's an exaggeration.
No, it's not.
No, it is.
It's not.
Anyway, Wheel in Space. Let's stick to.
Yeah.
We can have this debate when we get to the animation tier list.
Oh, I would say in need of an upgrade.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Oh, there we go. In need of an the invasion.
Yeah.
Oh, Chef Kiss.
I think another excellent story, I'd say.
There's no debate on this one. This is my favourite Charlton story. It's a great story, but it's a story of two halves, isn't it? It's your 4 parts with Tobias Vaughan, Kevin Stoney, amazing, and then you get the Cybermen. And it's surprising how much you think the Cybermen they're silent in it. They don't really talk, and there's just that lovely bit reveal when like Packer dies, and just the Cybermen just.
Oh yeah, just before like the Cyberman head on the monitor where you seeing Packer.
It's a story what just lends itself to being black and white, and it's wonderfully shot by Douglas Camfield. It's just a real cracker.
It's very much proto season 7, isn't it?
It is.
It has that same vibe to it. I mean,
just,
which half do you prefer? The first half or the second?
I don't know, because I just think it's consistently good.
I'd say the first half for me, actually.
What, you just like evil Zoe, just maniacally laughing as she blows a computer?
Oh.
I love Isabel. I think she's a lovely addition.
Yeah, she's a great character. Who's the captain?
Oh. I can't remember.
I should know.
I know you mean.
I've watched so many times. Yeah. Captain Turner.
Yeah. I will say I
The
do
Dolly
find
Soldier.
the ways where he just sort of goes, "Oh, you just need to do this with the missile strike and all that." A little bit much.
I don't think it's too bad.
A little bit too easy, I think, maybe.
Oh, you're not complaining about the feminism of 60s Doctor Who then?
No, I just think no, nothing at all. I like Zoe.
Yeah.
I just think the way aliens are portrayed within it, the way like they don't believe a photograph and all that sort of stuff. I think that's an interesting way. It's all good stuff.
Yeah, I think it does get a little bit messier towards the end there with like all the you got two different missiles going on, and you can quite easily lose track of which is which if you're not paying close enough attention. Yeah, I think it's got its problems, but I think just lashings of atmosphere in this one. I think that's really what makes up the first half for me. It's very much that enemy of the world style turned up to 11, isn't it? The animation is brilliant for that, almost noir style.
Yeah, very much so. The music score as well.
Yeah, that definitely carries a lot of this.
Great.
Yeah. Stylish One's having some hot takes here in the chat.
I'm prepared for this.
Brace yourself. The invasion is, to quote Luke, overrated rubbish. It is the second worst childhood story, worst classic Cyberman story, and one of my least favourite 60s stories in general. How are you doing so far?
I don't need medical help just yet.
The pacing is awful. The story drags. The Cybermen are utterly wasted. It drags. Wastes Jamie and Zoe. Depend on the part. Worst animation. Oof. No.
That's a start. It's like multiple daggers now. This is. Is this revenge
for design? Nick Briggs disagrees.
No,
he loves that design. It's on every cover.
I do think the invasion's my favorite design.
I feel like it's overexposed now, but it's a good design.
It's just the iconography of the invasion as well. What's bloody brilliant. St. Paul's,
yeah, St. Paul. Yeah. Hottest take part 3, repetitive and dull. Yes, Spawn is great. Sorry, the chat's just moved. Yes, Spawn is great, as are the rest of the cast, but they only carry the story so far. The fact people hold it in such high regard has also soured my opinion on it, and I dislike it before I knew how overrated it was. When people talk about what they like about it, it's what I dislike about it. Runs and hides. So you should. Get out of here. Leave us.
Gonna send
you are no longer welcome.
You can't hide in the sewers because the Cybermen are there.
No, okay. We welcome all opinions here.
We welcome all opinions.
It's interesting having different takes as well.
I feel like he went all out for that because of
You've been preparing that for a while. You've been waiting for this Cyberman stream so you can say that. I think you mentioned it before, Stylish One, about the invasion.
I think it's all because of what you said about power and evil of the Daleks, to be honest. I think
this is karma coming round.
Just going for you, he's going to attack you.
That's similar to my complaints about power and evil as well. Well, mainly evil, just the repetitive and dull. 6 parts before a good final part. Or an all right final part. I think while we are bleeding out, shall we move on?
Yeah, let's do that.
Go into colour now. With perfect Sunday afternoon watching, I'd say.
I've got a weird bit of nostalgia for it because I remember getting it for Christmas in 2006 on VHS. And I don't think it's the worst of season 12.
Oh, really?
I think that it's actually quite good. I think I prefer Return of the Cybermen to it.
Yeah, but it's weird having that now, isn't it? Like an alternative.
I do like it. I do like it a bit.
Yeah.
The music's a bit naff in it.
It's very much the same as Death to the Daleks, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think if the score was different, it would really help it.
Shame they didn't do a rescored version because they've done that for Destiny.
But I'd prefer that. Maybe use like the 60s soundtrack over it. That'd been cool. But the stuff in like Wookiee holes or the Cybermen walking around, just that shiny silver against like the dull of a cave, it's great. You know.
Yeah, I do sort of feel like this is where the Cybermen were taken quite a bit less seriously. Like in the performances and everything, it's like the voice is actually coming from the costumes. It's like the best Cyberman stories are often the ones where they speak very little in. In this one, they speak a fair bit, even though they're not in the first two parts, which is probably the better half of this story, the build up to their arrival. It's a great design.
Oh yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
They've got flares, so they're very 70s.
It's very much like an upgraded invasion design, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, you've taken a lot of the base elements there, but just reworking them, having the thicker hosing and such, getting the head cannon.
That's a nice little
A different kind of head cannon.
Yeah. An old friend.
You can head cannon whether this is the canon version or Return is.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I would say it's my least favorite of season 12. Oh, maybe between this and Robot.
Yeah,
but I think it's a very solid season overall.
Yeah, you can't really knock season 12, to be honest.
I was always fascinated by it when I was younger because of the whole interconnecting stories. Like each one leads into the next. Like this very much being set in the same space as the Ark in Space. Even though there's not really much done with that, and it is just a way to reuse the sets. But still, it gets a lot of hate that it doesn't deserve. It's not bad. It's probably only stupid Earth brains like us to be entertained.
I think, for me, I think it's like an 8 out of 10. I do enjoy that. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Right, on to the 80s.
Did it? One has said that's been building in me for a while now because of the power slander and because people do nothing but praise it, and I just don't get it. I've tried and tried, but just don't get anything out of it. That's better. At least you're trying there.
I think that's with any fan, though. I feel like we all have one of those iconic stories that we don't like. You know, so I don't think it's anything to be ashamed of, really.
No, everyone has different tastes, and there's so many Doctor Who stories out there. They're not all going to be for us.
No, and I think as well, if we all had the same opinion, the world would be very dull in discussion. Yeah. So it's nice to have that variety.
Web of Fear animation.
You and Cold Vengeance? What? Web of Fear animation? No, that's still crap. Moving on.
Earthshock, yes.
I'm shocked after your blooming revelation.
I don't. It's like similar to Sleep No More for me. We'll talk about web animation again here. Just quickly.
Okay, here we go.
It's like it's not something I overly like that much. It's just something that I see getting so much hate, and I think redirect that energy elsewhere. Redirect the Fury animation. Go.
You don't need to bat for it. I feel like you're the only person defending that animation. Well, apart from the animation crew. Yeah.
Who knows?
Who knows?
I mean, they might get the chance to do it again now.
I mean, did it sell well? That's the other thing.
Yeah, I want them to do it on Underwater Menace. That's like a disposable one, and then as they develop it a bit more, we could see it improve. But yeah, Earthshock. No more web discussion now. We've put a pin in that
for now.
I think it's an odd one. This one, because it's got a lot. It's very much the original Eric Saywood Slaughterfest. It's got a lot going for it, but it also does feel a bit overrated. I feel like I like it a little bit less every time I watch it.
I think for me, I watch Earthshock so rarely. I get reminded, that's actually it's really good.
I feel like I watch it rarely as well. I feel like maybe it's because it's the 80s as well.
I mean, I am tempted to watch Marathon season 19,
To
celebrate 40.
That's one that works well being marathon. Yes, but this is nearly 40 years old now, isn't it? Or would be older actually. I think Shortlist is gone now.
Yeah, I think it was on Tuesday. Because I think what's interesting, I mean, this is a little bit of trivia. The Genesis of the Daleks, Earthshock, and the Cage Randrazani share the same day they were broadcast. 3 very good stories.
Yes.
But yeah, part 1, I will say, I think I'm too familiar with part 1 because of like the DVD you got in like the Mirror or the Sun, I think. So I feel like very over familiar with part 1.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's sort of it's interesting how it sort of goes full circle because you've got like the dinosaur skeleton in part 1 and that links into part 4.
Yeah, that's a nice touch.
Which I don't think I noticed when I first watched it because of kid brains going, "Where's me Cybermen?"
Were you hit quite hard by the Adric death? Were you at like the right age for that, or were you already at the age of thinking he's annoying?
I don't think I'd seen that many Adric stories, to be honest.
No. It was my first Adric story, but I think I was still shocked by the fact that a companion can die just like that.
I don't know whether I knew about it because like you read books and stuff, so maybe I don't know. I don't really feel like I had much of an impact when I watched it.
I'm not even sure whether I knew he was going to die before or not.
So I don't know if I saw the Visitation or the New Beginnings box set before it.
Yeah. It's been, I think, I certainly probably would have read the synopsis in the Heroes and Villains book before. Who knows?
But the design's great.
It is a good design. Like seeing the mouth behind the piece.
Yeah, it brings back the body horror.
Yeah. But certainly probably the most human they've been. It sort of like takes what Revenge did, but does it better at least.
Yeah. That is true.
Right. They do have quite a bit of character here. Did you sort of feel less like Cybermen? But
I guess because they're more of an army, they do become sort of tin soldiers, I think.
I like there's often fluid. I mean, I'm not sure how much of it we see in this story, but certainly 5 Doctors. There's a lot of fluids going about when they're getting slaughtered.
Yeah. But I like the reveal of the Cybermen on like the crate on like Crater when they burst out of the silos and like, oh, that's a nice little callback to 62.
Yeah, it has great cliffhangers. Like maybe episode 2 less so, but yeah, episode 1's cliffhanger, episode 3's cliffhanger is top notch.
The music, I love the score in it. The chimes, it's all good. Yeah.
Probably underserves Nissa a bit.
Yeah, I mean Tegan gets a fair bit. She's a bit of rough and tumble within it with the guns and that. She's
gets to jump in the boiler suit.
Yeah. Character option to get on that figure.
Yeah. You do sort of feel like the crew from episode 1 that were like exploring the caves, the spare parts for like they come along in the TARDIS afterwards, but don't really have too much to do.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it feels right to have them there to have that connective tissue with the story as a whole. Like the ship setting and everything very much takes me back to Pertwee era in style.
A bit frontier in space, I feel.
Yeah, it has that quality to it. And to be honest, some of the cave stuff as well, really. Like the crew on the surface. You could sort of imagine them very much being from that same 25th century world as we saw in Frontier in Space. Maybe that's just because I watched them both when I was quite young. So there is that mental connection there. You think, Doctor Who, there'll obviously be that. Whereas now we know, as we're older, that's not necessarily the case. It's not all this well planned out universe. It is just a hodgepodge that sometimes
intertwined.
Yeah. But I do feel like it does feel like it's from that same world, really. That same society. Where would you want to put this? I feel like I've been the one calling the shots for a lot of these. So
I
what's
feel
your
like
go-to?
I've not seen it since season 19 came out on Blu-ray.
Oh,
So, but I know that it's a blooming good story. But I'd say for now, I'd say Magnificent Spectacle
I'd say so.
because it has potential to be an excellent story, which it is. But I feel like I need to rewatch it again to go, okay, yeah, it definitely deserves that status because it is one of the best Davison stories. Because it's one of those poignant moments for his characters, really.
Yeah. I suppose it's also one of those ones where we've recently had the Fifth Doctor poll where Doctor Who magazine went through all the Fifth Doctor stories.
Yeah, where did it come on the poll, actually? I'm going to check.
I think second. Like, wasn't
Yeah,
it versus Caves for the top spot, and naturally Caves ended up winning. I think there's almost a temptation to resent it a bit for that because of its popularity over things like Kinder.
Yeah, because you had Kinder, Mordred Undead, which I think is quite a surprising one.
Yeah. I suppose it also depends on like which ones were teamed up before that, though.
A semi-finalist, 5 Doctors. I see. 5. I disagree with 5 Doctors.
Oh, did that?
That was against Enlightenment.
Nah.
Because the thing with 5 Doctors, and we're going to talk about 5 Doctors, so I guess it makes sense.
Yeah,
I feel a little bit bad putting it in like a top 5 of Davison because I'm like, it's not really his story because it's the other Doctors bulking it up as well.
Yeah, like 3 Doctors is very much a third Doctor story still.
Yeah.
This is very much like a separate anniversary special, similar to what Big Finish does, where they team up different Doctors. It's not necessarily either of their era. There isn't a current Doctor.
Yeah.
Sometimes you default the current Doctor to the most recent in there. And I mean, some ones like the Annihilators, where that's in the Third Doctor Adventures, that's definitely a Third Doctor story still.
It's like Day of the Doctor
things
as
like
well.
like the anniversary specials, like Light at the End. That's not a McGann story. That's an Every Doctor story. This is an Every Doctor story.
Yeah.
But it also heavily features the Cybermen, and the Heroes and Villains book that we all loved as a kids features it as a Cyberman story. So I feel safe including it in this list.
Yeah. I mean, it is a good story. Is it the best anniversary special?
I'd say so.
Ooh, okay.
I mean, we've only got 3 of them, like proper ones.
I see. I don't know. For me, 3 Doctors is just that comfort blanket. So I feel like 3 Doctors my favorite. But 5 Doctors, I rewatched it in preparation for the B&M set. It's blooming good. It's a perfect story for kids, isn't it?
Yeah, this is very much like a good place to start with Classic Who, or maybe not start first off, but very much a good one to watch early on.
It's one of those stories where I think you wish you were around at the time, just the hype of it, that it just has that event TV, doesn't it? Like for whole Longley, everything around the 5 Doctors just seems so interesting and exciting.
It very much feels like Doctor Who in a nutshell.
Yeah.
It feels that quintessential Doctor Who quality. Like the music in it as well is brilliant. But yeah. As for the Cybermen themselves in it, they've got quite a substantial role. You almost feel like maybe that could have been delegated to some other monsters like Autons and such that were originally meant to be included.
Yeah, they were meant to be in it.
I mean, you had that brilliant scene with the Raston Warrior robot.
Cyber vomit everywhere. You get somebody else voicing the cyber leader within it.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, because it's outside when the TARDIS is getting the bombs, and it's like, oh, the original cyber leader's been destroyed. I will, make myself cyber leader. So get another leader within it. I think there's like 3 different cyber leaders within it, I think.
Yeah, because like one gets wiped out by the Raston Warrior robots.
And then you get
killed
one
by the
on
Master.
on the maze, yeah.
I imagine they like transmitted quite a few different squads in there.
Probably did.
Yeah. I suppose like part of the reason they're around is their mobility is much better. Like you can easily film them outside. Daleks, they'd be a massive pain. So you just have the one in the corridor. Yeah, you think that could? Yeah, you could have had Daleks versus Cybermen in this.
Yeah, you could have.
Ooh, and that would have fitted for an anniversary. I mean, you got a little bit of Yeti in there, and that's about it for your monsters.
Yeah, but it's enough. I feel it's enough.
Yeah, it's like there's that excitement about what could have been, but at the same time,
I'm happy with what we have.
Yeah, there's
I
not that
think-
feeling of wanting more.
I kind of feel like Pertwee takes centre stage within it as well. I don't know if whether that's Terrence's natural bias, but I feel like John has probably a bit more to do within it. I feel.
Yeah, like the Fifth Doctor sort of gets sent off to Gallifrey.
Yeah, Fifth Doctor gets the boring stuff, so that's why I'm
Yeah.
like, it's not a Davison story because you get Brigg and Troughton doing stuff. You know,
I like that Tegan gets teamed up with the First Doctor.
yeah,
Just
that's a
'cause
nice
I feel-
combo.
Yeah, it's one of the things that the story didn't quite do enough of was mixing these things up. But at the same time, Second Doctor and Brigg is something you don't see as much of on TV. It's not like Second Doctor and Jamie. And so that feels fresh enough. And then also Third Doctor and Sarah. Again, like by this point, you would more associate her with the Fourth Doctor. So it's interesting having her back there. They probably don't do as much with it as they could, but it's 80s Doctor Who. What do you expect? Like classic.
I feel
Doctor Who's
like it's
never
a bit of
gonna
a
be as in tune
regression
with that. Yeah.
of Sarah, to be honest. I mean, I think that's Sarah's character in Classic Who anyway, because I feel like you look at her in season 11 to what you get with Tom. They're completely different Sarahs. But yeah,
But even just when you go from Time Warrior and Invasion to Death, you can see that there's a very different writing for that. I think Elizabeth Sladen only starts really acting differently with Tom because he brings out such a different side to her and Sarah. Whereas there's a bit more of that friction with the Third Doctor, isn't there?
yeah.
Right.
Here's a question from Stylish One: 5 Doctors broadcast version or special edition?
Usually special edition. How about you?
Yeah, special edition. That's the one I watched. When I watched it back in November.
Yeah.
Almost with 5 Doctors, I always feel like I have to watch it on the anniversary. It just feels like the perfect one to go. That's Doctor Who. This is Doctor Who Day.
Yeah, 3 Doctors. I feel like you can watch that any time of year. I mean, it did come out in like December, January time. So, but yeah, 5 Doctors. It suits the anniversary more. It does feel like a special.
This is a hard one to put on a list because am I ranking it because of the Cybermen content or am I ranking it because of the story?
I think we're ranking it because of the story. Because if we were ranking the Invasion because of the Cybermen content, it probably would be a bit lower.
Yeah, that is true.
So, yeah, I'd say a magnificent spectacle.
I was thinking an excellent story just because of the sheer joy it brings you.
That's true.
Like, I know it's a little bit padded, but I think there's a lot to love within it.
Yeah. Or I remember one thing I was going to say actually about the Fifth Doctor going to Gallifrey. I think that at least helps distinguish his side of the story from the others. Like, he's getting the more special side of it. He's getting to solve the mystery. He's like the one who gets to confront Barusa, his old mentor. But yeah, I can see it does sort of feel like the more boring of the plots at the same time.
For a kid, you're like, oh, there's no action within that.
Yeah. Can we get back to the Death Zone, please?
Yeah. But,
Yeah. I'll let you put an excellent story.
I just think it's special. I feel like it's a sacred one. It's a good one.
Yeah. And now Attack of the Cybermen. One I haven't seen in quite a while, to be honest. I don't. Sort of waiting on the season 22 Blu-ray, really. But I mean, what's your thoughts on this one?
It ties in with season 22 very well, where it's like, hey, you remember this? Here's a continuity overload and dump.
Yeah. You got like the Tomb, you got the 10th Planet tie-in.
Sewers,
It's very much Eric Saywood overload.
it's a story what I remember being really excited about because I think it was the last Colin story to be released on DVD. I want to say.
No, surely not.
I
Maybe.
feel like it was. I want to say it was the last Colin. I feel pretty.
Was it Twin? Maybe
No, Twin was. Well, maybe it was Twin.
or Trial.
I know trial was 2008. But yeah, but going back to Attack of the Cybermen, I like it. I think that it's a good solid story. By Paula Moore. Is it really Paula Moore?
Who knows?
But I enjoy it. I think that it's one of the better Colin stories for me. I think it's maybe my second favorite Colin story.
Ooh, wow.
I do like it.
I think it's got some great moments. I love the ending with Sixth Doctor realizing he's misjudged Lytton.
But again, it's one of those stories I haven't seen in yonks maybe since it was on like the Horror Channel.
Oh, wow, that was a while back.
Yeah.
Some interesting music choices at times.
No. Yeah, I did. It's got such a different part. One does have a different feel to it. It has sort of like a Minder professional feel to it.
Yeah,
it feels like Eric's. I think with Eric's scripts, he sort of sways away from the Doctor and Companion. He likes to write his own characters. Like Revelation of the Daleks, you barely get Perry and the Sixth Doctor. It's very much. I like writing these characters more than the actual main cast.
Yeah, you've got several different like plots running at the same time, really, don't you? For like the different characters, they're all on their own separate journeys that sort of tie in, occasionally cross over, but not too much.
Yeah,
and like I mean, it's the same with Resurrection of the Daleks as well.
Yeah,
it does. It feels like overstuffed in that sense. Like we say, you have the ties to Tomb and 10th Planet. And so like so many different things are going on, but you're not really sure which one you're meant to care about. There's not like that one focal point. You also get the callback to Invasion with the Cybermen in the sewers.
Yeah. You have the stealth Cyberman, which I think's. It feels very Star Wars when I think about the stealth Cyberman because it's like the Death Trooper.
You know, it's weird when you see it in the TARDIS. Like in the sewers, you get away with it because you can always think, oh, it's just a normal Cyberman in dark lighting. And then suddenly it's there in the TARDIS, and you're like, oh wow, that is definitely a different look.
You feel like it's one of those random things. Like, did it? Why is there a stealth Cyberman? Is it just like guarding the? I don't know.
It just feels slightly wrong, doesn't it?
Yeah, like I don't mind it. I think it was one of those things when I got the Product Enterprise one, being like intrigued by it, going, what's this all about?
You got the Cybermen in the TARDIS again.
Yeah, very strange cliffhanger for it. Like a Cyberman going to whack Perry.
Do
you think the violence is an issue within it? The way it goes? Has that been an issue for you?
Probably not too much, really.
Yeah.
I think it just feels like the tone of the Colin era in general doesn't, or at least season 22.
I think that is the thing with the Colin stuff. You have to be in the mood for it. You can't just stick it on.
Despite all the continuity references, it doesn't feel quintessentially Doctor Who in that sense. It is its own thing in a way. I'd probably say maybe only stupid Earth brains like ours, or in need of an upgrade.
I would say only stupid Earth brains, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think that's as high as I'm willing to go for it.
Yeah, there's a lot of like dumb fun within it.
Yeah, I think a rewatch is definitely needed to make a firm judgment for it at the minute.
Stylish One says Attack is one of 6 stories where everyone except the Doctor and Companions die.
Okay.
Yeah. How many of those are written by Eric Saywood?
Probably all, vast majority of those.
Yeah. I think Robert Holmes has written a couple.
Oh, Horror Fang Rock, I think.
Yeah, Well, that's Terrence Dicks.
Oh, that's Terrence. Yeah, sorry.
Which? Yeah, I swear there's a Robert Holmes one that is everyone except those two dying. Who knows? It'll come to us at some point.
Yeah, we'll come to it.
Cyberman also says Attack of the Cybermen is a weird story given how 10th Planet was unviable, being partially unviewable, sorry, being partially missing, and Tomb was completely missing, so no one would watch the original stories this is a sequel to. Yeah, it's weird to think back to that time, isn't it? But even if they were available, a lot of them hadn't come out on VHS by that point either. So
yeah,
like this is only the infancy of the VHSs. Some would get an odd repeat every once in a while, but that was it. Yeah. Silver Nemesis now. Onto another anniversary of sorts, but we like to pretend this isn't the anniversary.
Or do we?
Oh, are you a fan?
Yes, I am.
Oh, it's very CBBC dumb fun.
Yeah, I think for me, it was one of those stories what you see clips of as a kid, you're like, I really want to see that. And I remember back in like 2010, we just had the Silver Nemesis figures, and then you had like the Cyber box set, like the last 2 full Cyberman stories to be released.
It's funny, you do sort of like see that as the shit ones being put together so they can sell both at the same time.
Yes.
I like Revenge, but its general consensus, having it paired with Silver Nemesis and its general consensus, there is very much that image of they're getting rid of them.
I feel like there's some good action sequences, like the attack of like the neo-Nazis, and that's such a good thing. But I do like the design of them. I like the chrome-plated Cyberman. They suit it when they go to like Windsor Castle, like they have that medieval knight look to them.
Yeah, that's true. There's some nice scenes there, like in Windsor Castle. I love Ace taking on the platoon of Cybermen by herself with the coins.
It's one of those ones where you sort of forget about that moment because it's overshadowed again by the baseball bat.
Yeah.
It's one of those moments where you're like, Ace is a really good companion because of this.
It doesn't help that it is uncomfortably similar to Remembrance of the Daleks. That was only 2 stories earlier. So that does help a lot of the moments to be overshadowed because they are very similar moments in a very similar story.
I don't think it's the worst of season 25.
Oof.
I don't think it's the worst.
I've not watched Happiness Patrol in full still, so
Okay.
I prefer Greatest Show in the Galaxy to
I'd say
Nemesis.
I watched Greatest Show a couple of years ago and I didn't like it as much as I remembered, so I don't know if I prefer Silver Nemesis to it.
That's it. It's worth another watch, that one.
I
think it's got a lot going for it.
I'm definitely excited to when season 25 eventually comes out on Blu-ray to have that extended version of it, because I think the story probably would benefit that as well.
It's weird that this is like meant to be a key piece in Ace's arc, but it's referenced in Curse of Fenric. Yeah. Like when you first watch Curse of Fenric and hear about all this, you think, oh, it's quite a serious thing they've got going on here, but it really isn't.
No.
It's already Curse of Fenric, but nothing else is playing into that as such, other than a couple of lines here and there. But it's switch off your brain, have fun. So I'd say only stupid Earth brains may be in need of an upgrade.
That's where I was thinking. That's where I was thinking. I enjoy that sort of seeing Seven and Ace just enjoying a bit of jazz and having a good time. But yeah, it's all right. I like it.
Hello, Pain Cyberman. This is the tier list for you.
It is, yeah. Hello. On to the 21st century reinvention of the Cybermen now.
Yeah, we're in a new series. I think is it an even split here of stories? No, 10 up the top there, 9 to go.
So okay.
Fairly.
I mean, it'd be even more if we had the cameos in there.
Yeah. I mean, certainly some of them you can debate. Like,
Yeah.
I've got Haunting of Villa Diodati as separate from Timeless Children and Ascension,
Oh,
which it's
Yeah.
just to be nice to the Jodie era, so we can actually have one relatively high up on the list for a change. But we will get to that. But first, we have, I'd say, a really good story.
it's one of those ones what has grown on me, to be honest.
Ah, you weren't a fan at first, then?
I liked it, but it wasn't what I wanted from a Cyberman story. But now I think maybe the rose tinted glasses have come on, and I'm like, oh, that was some good Doctor Who.
I think it's the best of New Who Cyberman
No.
Stories.
No. I disagree there.
I think, should we wait and then you can reveal that later when we get to?
I feel like it's an obvious one what it is, but
yeah, I think I've got a fairly. Oh, actually, yeah. Well, maybe not.
Yeah,
I've
we'll
only
see.
I've just clicked, but it's first or second for me. It's very.
It
very
might
high
be
up there.
might be. I don't. Oh, because there's two in there. Well, three actually.
Yeah,
what I might prefer
three.
over it.
Well,
I don't know. I'm torn. Actually, no. I tell you what, it's probably my fourth favorite of the New Who.
Oh damn!
I've just. Okay.
Maybe our opinions are going to be a bit more split here.
Yeah, maybe they are.
I don't know, because I'd honestly say this is an excellent story.
I was thinking Magnificent Spectacle.
Mm.
I think the way. What do you think of the sort of reveal, the build up to the Cybermen within it?
That's brilliant stuff. Like how the camera keeps them out of focus. You know what they are, but it's toying with you. It's having that fun, and I think it's wonderfully shot. Great
Like
stuff.
the homeless people just there's food for all in the van, and next minute you hear the screams and like them trying to run out of the van, and
it is
that's some real
stuff.
horror.
Yeah, and then like them lining up for the conversions. It's very much doing something that Classic Who never really did with them.
Yeah, and you see the Cybermen with an arm gun in it, and you're like, oh, that's a nice little thing to see in like Army of Ghosts eventually.
Yeah, I think that's because it's like the animation model, isn't it?
Yeah.
So like it's just happened to be the same, but yeah, it's still a nice little touch.
I think it's when Ricky dies, and you just get that blank Cyberman look on the fence. That's a really nice one. It's a bit like the Invasion where Packer dies. It has that moment. I will say, cliffhanger resolution.
Yeah, that's a weak one.
It's
very cheaty.
It's very cheaty, but you kind of can forgive it. But it's one of those cliffhangers where you're like, that's a really good cliffhanger.
The attack on the house, like the way they storm it. What if I refuse?
Yeah,
that's amazing. I love the build up to it as well, like the exploring of the parallel worlds. You sort of get like turn left vibes from it, where it is a bit more downtrodden. You got that thing about curfew. You got Mickey visiting his gran. Wonderful little character moments, like him just getting choked up over the fact that she's still alive here and hasn't tripped over the stairs. Like Russell was just a master of this stuff. Just like so many little things. Rose going to see her dad and spending his time at the party there. Like Rose's mum just being a bitch towards Rose with that. Like that's some quite hard stuff. Like it pulls no punches throughout. I know.
Roger Lloyd Packer as well. Great as Lumic.
Yeah, very much like that Davros figure for the Cybermen, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so.
It's nice that we get an origin story for the Cybermen, but not the origin story. Because having the parallel world
parts.
Yeah, they do play off on that a lot. But yeah, and then I like what happens later on with World Enough and Time and Dr. Falls, how it's revealed that Cybermen, it's parallel evolution. These aren't always the same ones from Mondas we see. It's this idea that humanity or human-like species eventually get to this point. And we see that here with Age of Cybermen. It's like, it's our world, but slightly different. And so it's very much that similar warning to what there was back in the 60s.
It's our world, but with Zeppelins.
Very much so.
And it's a nice little riff off I like how it sort of ties in with like Bluetooth was in its infancy back like mid 2000s, and like the cyber earpods have now become AirPods. So I like that sort of link in a way, really.
Yeah, it's on the pulse, isn't it? This stuff?
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
You know what? I feel like I've got.
Have I convinced you?
Yeah. Where's my old mouse gone? There we go. Keeps freezing. But yeah, I think it is good. It is a good one.
Yeah.
I think as well, my problem is I'm probably over familiar. It's one of those stories you watch over again when you get the DVD as a kid.
It's very much the go-to of season 2, I'd say. That and Satan Planet. Satan Planet? Bloody hell. Impossible Planet, Satan Pit.
You got there at the end, you measure title.
It's not even
Army of Doomsday now.
Yep. Hello, Mr. Bonk Cactus. Thank you for joining us.
Hello. Should we move on to a Series 2 finale then?
Well, yeah, just having a quick look at the chat here. See what Pain Cyberman's been saying. And Sturge One had a hot take. Silver Nemesis is a great story that would be superb with a few rewrites. Quintessential McCoy for me. Nice, but I think, definitely a few rewrites could make it work so much better. Yeah. It's on the cusp of clicking. It just needs something more. Pain Cyberman, I'm glad to see the invasion on the highest tier as it should be. Yeah, Sturge One's not going to be happy with that. Here we go. Pain Cyberman respectfully disagrees with Cyrus One's hot take. I think it's a classic and quintessential Second Doctor in Cyberman, and the animation, while of course not Pixar, really brings that moody atmosphere perfectly. Very much agreed. Pain Cyberman. Stylish One, meanwhile, has said, I never understood the hate for Rise of the Cybermen. Me neither, Stylish One. So many people seem to dispel it and don't get it. Great plot, perfect pacing, and the best use of Cybermen New Who. Yeah, very much so.
I will say it's probably not aged well, but besides that point, it's good.
There is one little hiccup there, but it's something that affects a lot of Russell T Davies too.
Yeah.
Pain Cyber says, I think a lot of it has to do with the new Cybermen themselves. Yeah, I think a lot of people will mock the stomping Cybermen compared to
it becomes gimmicky.
Yeah.
It becomes that thing of what can I put on a key ring? What can I put on a t-shirt? Delete, stomp.
Yeah.
But
it's
again,
very much trying to give the Cybermen their own exterminate.
It's very much Russell going, what can I make the kids do in a playground?
Yeah, Russell loves his things like that.
You can very much easily go stomp, delete, and playground. Like it was a common thing in the playground back where I was.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, like, it's also easier to pretend to be a Cyberman than it is to be a Dalek.
Yeah. You just got to do a little march and you're there. Or just have your hand out like you're going to strangle someone.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Pain Cyberman also says, Age of Steel / Rise of Cyberman is a genuinely great story. Cyberman story in New Who. Every other story, maybe barring Haunting and Ascension, can't even touch this story. Fair enough. But yeah. Doomsday. We've already done this one, haven't we? It was on the Dalek tier list as well, but it felt wrong to leave it out.
Yeah.
I can't remember where we put it on the Dalek tier list, to be honest.
I think in terms of Cyberman content, it's pretty naff.
It's very middling.
It's very biased.
Yeah. But we're not necessarily doing this on Cyberman content.
No.
So, I mean, probably only Stupid Earth Brains. I sort of want to check what we put with
I think we put it very high. I think we put it in top tier for that.
No, we didn't go that high, surely.
But I'll quickly have a quick talk while you do that, while you find out.
Yeah.
I think the reveal of the Cybermen's great within it. The way they're sort of phasing into our world is great. Because I think what's lovely about Army of Ghosts and Doomsday is it subverts your expectation with what Russell did with Series 1, where the Daleks was a big bad, so you think, all right, the Cybermen are going to be in the finale. and then you get the Dalek. So it's a nice little going, haha, surprise.
Yeah. But you've already had your full-on Cyberman story still, so you don't feel cheated in that sense.
Yeah, you don't feel cheated by it.
Whereas Dalek was just one Dalek and a one-parter, so but yeah, it's sort of like that same vibe, isn't it? Bringing them back that scene. But yeah, also we put it second to top tier last time.
Okay.
So, which I think is a fair place for it.
I think it's a fair
it's a
place.
lot of fun as a story.
It's us saying goodbye to our eyes and ears of the show up until that point, really. That being Rose.
Yeah. And she has a lot of great moments in there.
Yeah.
I mean, that whole thing of her becoming too much like the Doctor, like Jackie saying you're even looking like or sounding like I can't quite remember, like towards the start in the TARDIS. Yeah. I do love those opening moments with like Jackie talking about her granddad, or not her dad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Rose's granddad. Yeah. Like that. Yeah. There's something very human about that. Again, it's just Russell gets it. Now, the next Doctor, is this one of the ones you were thinking of?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so.
I see, for me, in terms of like the Christmas episodes, I rate it quite highly. I don't know if it's my favorite or my second favorite. It always fluctuates between A Christmas Carol or Next Doctor. I think it's my favorite Tennant special, because I remember being so excited for it as a kid when after Journey's End finishes, you got the Cybermen in the graveyard. Like, I love that visual.
It's got like great visuals, hasn't it? Especially early on with the Cybermen.
Like, there's something
suit Victorian London.
That steampunkness of that sort of industrial level, revolution. That's it. I'm getting mixed up with a Big Finish title there. They just fit that very well. You've got the Cyber Lords, lovely, but it has that ridiculous kiddie feel of like the Cyber King.
It feels like it needed another rewrite. Also, I love the human aspect of this again with
Jackson Lake.
Jackson Lake himself, the Next Doctor. That reveal and everything, it's quite hard hitting stuff. But then he doesn't get to do much after that. But I think he should have probably been the one to go up in the balloon and take down the Cyber King. Also,
but another thing what I like about this story is how it plays with you thinking it is the Next Doctor, because you have sort of Tennant dressed in like the Victorian getup, and then you have it sort of phase in and out, and then you get Jack. So like, is that the regeneration between them? Like, I love the way it's done. Then the info stamps, clever way of how he thought he was a Doctor, and it was the first time we saw all the Doctors on video.
The perfect time to do it as well, because you know that Tennant is leaving.
Yeah, so it's one of those ones where you're like, oh, this is our next Doctor. And I think Tennant's on fine form. The whole joke about the sonic screwdriver with him whistling, I love. And you get Tennant with the cutlass fighting the Cybermen up the stairs. It's lovely. You don't get the sort of vain Tennant within it going, oh, I've died, have I?
Yeah,
it's such an interesting thing, because like, obviously this is before he knows he's the foreshadowing of the knocking and all that. But it's such an interesting contrast within the space of like a story, how his mood changes and becomes a bit more catty and angsty.
Yeah, that's very true.
But I do agree that it needed a bit more it needed another rewrite, I feel.
Yeah, especially towards the end. I think that's when it all starts to crumble a bit. But I'd say it's a magnificent spectacle.
Yeah, that's where I'd put it. I have a lot of fun with it, and it's one of those stories I watch. I'm like, that was magic. That's a bit of magic TV. It's a nice bit of fluff, but it's my fluff.
Yeah, like as long as you're focused on the more human side of it, then you really do get into it.
And I think as well, when the Cybermen are taking, sort of the Undertaker, the business people and all that, are taking the kids to work in the factories. I think that was such a striking thing, because you were the same age as those kids as well, so it tied in nicely with that way.
Yeah, Stylish one asks, better than Waters of Mars? I mean, I enjoy it, but I wouldn't say it's anything more than good. I mean, I would say Waters of Mars is better. But
Yeah,
that's
I'd
from
say
you.
Water Mars. I think in terms of Cyberman Story, in terms of New Who, it's maybe my third favorite. But it's Water Mars is my favorite Tennant story.
Yeah. They seem looking at Pain Cyberman and Mr. Bond Cactus. It is agreed that Next Doctor is just a good amount of fun, and that's what you want at Christmas. Some good fun, some heartfelt moments, some Cyberman action. Could have knitted together better, but the end result isn't disappointing.
You're not thinking about that on the day. You've stuffed yourself with a lot of food. You're probably intoxicated. Yeah, well, maybe not when you're a kid, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
you've been on the slurp.
Yeah, skipping forward a couple of years, we're at closing time now. Which is, I don't think I've watched this one since it was first on.
I rewatched
Maybe
it
once.
Rewatched it last year.
How did you find it? I'll leave this one mostly up to you.
I think it's such an interesting story to have the mindset of this could be Matt's last story. The way Matt performed when it was like, I own the stage and now it's the final curtain. All that sort of stuff. You feel like, oh, this is Matt regenerating. You know, it does have that sort of feel that this could be Matt. You know, Matt in any bad story is carrying it. And I don't think I feel like this story gets too much hate.
Yeah, I do. When I see hate on this story, I think, I don't remember it being that bad. And then that puts me off rewatching it because I don't want to ruin that somewhat positive image I've got for it. And
Oh, go on.
I like the Lodger. I like, Craig.
I think I prefer this to the Lodger.
Oh, really? I remember always thinking like the Lodger, feeling like, is this going to be a Cyberman story? Are people going up the stairs to be converted? And so I was disappointed when the Lodger ended and it wasn't that. So then going around to the next year, having Craig back with the Cybermen, it just felt right in that sense. I felt vindicated somewhat.
I mean, you have the lovely Linda Barron, who sadly passed away this week. I just think it's again, it's just fun. I know the ending's a bit crap, you know. Power of love
up with love.
Yeah, that does seem. But I like the way the Cybermen are built up. That they're in the shadows, like the lights flickering.
I love that scene in the changing rooms, isn't it? Like the pre-title sequence.
That's good. That is very good. The Cybermats are introduced back into the show again.
A lot of it does feel quite Russell. The down to earthness of it and the Cybermen in the shop.
It is domestic though, isn't it?
It
is great.
Yeah, it's one of those ones that doesn't all quite come together. I'd probably say in need of an upgrade or any Stupid Earth Brains like ours be entertained.
I'd say Stupid Earth Brains.
Fair enough.
Because I think out of the two Matt Smith ones, I'd rather watch Closing Time.
Yeah, I will agree with that. Nightmare in Silver, I did get caught up on the hype train for at the time.
Yeah, I think that's why I was so disappointed with it.
I feel like I wasn't taking Doctor Who seriously at this point. Like, this was very much around the cusp of me getting back into it. And I remember really enjoying Nightmare in Silver on the first watch. I think I even rewatched it a couple of times, pretty soon after. But more recently, the more I thought about it, I have really come to dislike this one, I guess.
I think as well, when you think of what Neil Gaiman's original plan was, that he wanted it to be a two-parter, be more 60s. You can see there are elements of 60s Cybermen in there, the way they are in the shadows, but it gets ruined by the constant upgrade, and it just becomes of, well, what's the point, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, all the Mr. Clever stuff, I think a lot of people praise, but I'm not overly keen on.
I enjoy it from a performance standpoint, how it's just bam, 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 like the switch.
Yeah, I think that flipping is very impressive, but yeah.
I think the sets of the actual cyber base, I love, because that's a nice little callback to Tomb with the ladders and all that.
There's that shot where it's all the Cybermen lined up. It's impressive from a technological standpoint, maybe, but it just doesn't look right for one thing. And also, it just feels empty.
Yeah.
It just leaves me feeling empty. The shot itself isn't empty in that sense, but yeah,
It's full,
I'm just like, you're trying too hard to impress me here.
Like the supporting characters are like a band of like military rejects, aren't they, or something? And I don't really see them. Yeah, they're not that memorable, to be honest. I think this is a real misfire by Neil Gaiman. Like, I feel like if they did a Target novelization of it, I would be interested to pick it up to see if we get more of Neil's vision.
Yeah, that could work.
But
I know.
yeah, it's one of those ones where I think it should have been that two-parter and let Neil do what he wants instead of done the blockbuster of the week, what Series 7 was going for.
Which I think you could have dropped that for Series 7 Part 2. Like, you could, like, Part 1, I think it works for, but Part 2, I don't know. I didn't even realise they were carrying on the blockbuster feel, to be honest.
I mean, I'd happily lose Crimson Horror for 2 parts of Nightmare of Silver. Personally.
Or maybe, or could you just like extend the series, or have this be like an extra long episode? Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be a 2-parter, but just like even an extra 15 for half hour, maybe.
Yeah.
Could have. You could then still keep the blockbuster feel of it, and also have a story long enough to tell. But
like the kids as well, like you forget they're in it.
Why were they even there?
Yeah.
What was the point?
And they're like so ungrateful. Like, no, you're in space. You've gone to this abandoned space park. Be happy, not be on your phone. Come on.
Yeah, like I think there was plans to use that more as well, wasn't there? The space park with the Cybermen, have them be involved in more things.
Because I feel like in Neil Gaiman's original draft, the kids weren't even in it.
Yeah,
and I think it just lets the side down, to be honest.
I mean, either delete, or in need of an upgrade. How nice are you feeling?
I would say delete.
Go for it.
Sour taste.
I've also turned on the design as well. Like, I used to like that.
I was really excited
as a change. Yeah, but now the more I've seen of it, the more I'm like, actually, I do prefer. I mean, I'm glad they had a redesign. I'm glad they didn't do what they did with the Daleks and fall back on it as well. I think it's okay, but I do prefer the original new series design.
Yeah.
Like, I think, because when you first saw it, you thought, we're going away from the stomping now. We're going to something more creepy.
The movement's
classic feeling. Yeah, it's too robotic now. Like that scene where the head just turns 180. It's just like, it's weird because you feel like this sleeker design, it is trying to be more classic, but then it ends up not being at all.
Like, I remember seeing the bit in the trailer when it like grabs the mace off Clara, and I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be exciting." Then, like, it doesn't live up to that a little bit in the trailer.
No. Yeah, it's a shame. But speaking of a shame, Death in Death in Heaven, Dark Water. I don't like it.
I like it.
You like it? How much do you like it?
I think up until midway through Death in Heaven, it's all right. I love Dark Water. I know a lot of people say it's Doctor Who going too grim and dark, but that's Series 8. I like the whole idea. I know it's Moffat. He does the idea later in Dracula of like, don't cremate me and all that sort of stuff. But I actually like it. I think that it's a good way. The Cyberman reveal was great. I think, yeah, it's probably like the last bit of fierce Capaldi you get, really. But I remember, I think it was last year I rewatched it, and I had a lot of fun watching it again.
Yeah, I think it probably is one of the ones I should go back to, but it's just not much really works for me. Like, Missy's not too great here. You have that whole weird birthday thing as well. I think she wasn't off to a great start with Series 8. I have warmed to her a lot. Series 10, Missy is brilliant. I have come around on her, but here it just doesn't quite work for me. Her pretending to be a robot was just a bit bizarre.
That's only for like a little bit though.
Yeah. I mean, I appreciate the callback to St. Paul's, but yeah, none of it works for me, to be honest. Like, I think they could have done so much more with the cyberspace side of things, the Neversphere. I think like that's where the most interesting story concepts are, like that heaven being just this office place.
Yeah.
And then that's all sort of dropped halfway through. Like, what's the character? The one who says permission to squee.
Oh, that's I know who you mean. Yeah, Chris.
Yeah, he's a great character. He was great on the build up to this, great in Dark Water with all those scenes. And then he's just dropped, and like the whole Neversphere is pretty much dropped. And you think you could have got a lot more out of that, but no, we sort of move on from it pretty quickly.
It plays very much in Clara Who, doesn't it? Because you even get the title sequence of like Clara's eyes and that.
Yeah, it's very full on with the at the end. Like, it's just one long half-hour scene in a graveyard, pretty much. It feels like it just goes on forever. It's just so messy for me. I think it had some potential in Dark Water, but it just never really worked out. And then you got Cyberbrig as well, who's become a bit of a meme, but at the same time, it does feel like a bit of a gut punch when you
Flying
had that
Cybermen.
perfect send-off. The Flying Cybermen, I don't mind, actually.
Okay, all right.
I will...
That's my thing I'm not too keen on.
The Cybermen blowing up and becoming clouds, I'm not as keen on. The Cybermen actually flying, like those scenes of them on the plane as they attack the plane, I think that works. That's like some good horror there, but yeah.
I like the way the Cybermen are revealed within like the like Death in Heaven, when you get them coming out of like the morgue and the graves. That's all grunt. I like the using of like rain and converting. I think that's good. I like that.
It feels too full on though. I feel like you should have a more gradual process. Like, you have a corpse underneath the like shroud, don't you? And then suddenly it becomes a cyber. I think it's Danny's even, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Danny. Yeah, because he got like the little tag on him.
Yeah, but then you think it's too full on. Like, it shouldn't be this fully converted Cyberman. It should be something more like the 10th Planet design.
Yeah, that would have been nice if it had like a bit more of it, like a skull or something showing. Yeah,
just
nice.
something more partly converted. Just like show that the water can't do it all. The water's just starts this. But... And then you also think, if the water can convert the dead, why can't it just go and convert the living as well?
Maybe, yeah.
I don't. Yeah, Cybermen flying, I'm not too bothered by. Like, the Daleks did it. Why can't the Cybermen, I guess?
But that's a fair point.
Yeah, I suppose it's like the Iron Man comparison as well, isn't it? Like, you had that chest bit, so it just feels almost too comical at that point. But yeah, I don't think it's a stretch too far to have the Cybermen fly. I will say that in defense of this. And then you also get in World Enough in Time and Doctor Falls.
Yeah.
Then it sort of becomes a bit weird that they're just slamming through the roof, though.
Yeah.
That's a bit awkward. But yeah, the flying itself.
I do like Capaldi just sort of flying towards the TARDIS.
Yeah,
I like that. I do. Yeah.
That does feel a bit Pertwee-esque, doesn't it? You can imagine if they had the budget, they would have tried something like that.
Or they'd have John with his cape just using it as like a parachute or something. Yeah.
Just like flying squirrel mode.
Yeah. That'd have been cool. That needs to happen in a Big Finish story now. I need it.
But for me, it's a delete for me.
I would say only Stupid Earth Brains, to be honest.
I
feel like I can switch my brain off and enjoy it, and I think that's maybe my Moffat fanboy, because I feel like that's where me and you differ quite a bit with like Moffat Who. But I do enjoy it.
Should we settle in the middle?
Yeah, or do you want to alter it? Or do you want to have a delete just to Make it a bit more spicy.
We've got something coming up. We don't have to.
True.
And yeah, in need of an upgrade's a bit empty anyway.
That is true.
But here we go.
Here we are.
World Enough in Time and the Doctor Falls. One of the best series finales in New Who.
It's in my
Maybe
top
even
10.
the best.
It's in my top 10 of all-time Doctor Who. I really love this one. I really love it. I just think it's beautifully grim and bleak. I know people say Doctor Falls is weak, but you know what? There's still a lot to enjoy with Doctor Falls.
I think it's grim, but it's got that hopeful element of it as well. It feels like the characters at their lowest, but you feel like the darkest point is before the night is darkest before the dawn, is the saying, or the tunnel's darkest before you reach the other side, where there's a metaphor in there somewhere. Death in Heaven just feels depressing throughout. It doesn't have anything to make you hopeful. This story has that for me. It has that element, even when everything seems totally lost. There's still hope worth fighting for. There's that brilliant scene where the Doctor confronts the Master and Missy about that.
Yeah.
Where I can't remember the exact line. Can you remember?
I do what I do because it's right, because it's decent, and above all, it's kind.
Yeah, there you go. So saying, yeah, and like just before that is the line saying, "God knows it isn't easy." Or yeah, brilliant stuff. And I think it sums up Doctor Who, doesn't it? Really, and I love that Moffat eventually eased away from those huge finales where everything had to top the next, like the universe had to end each time, and instead it's just the fate of a few people at stake here, and they don't even necessarily get to survive. They get bought some time to regroup, but they're still stuck in this ship with the Cybermen down there. They're not all defeated.
The whole sort of time dilation, I think, is a really, really good sort of concept of in a story.
Yeah,
but
it's
going
like
back,
timey-wiminess done right, isn't it?
Yeah,
it doesn't feel overly complicated. It's like a fairly simple idea to grasp.
Like the way it lends itself to a series 10, 12 Doctor because he's a lecturer, and you have the whole sort of sonic screwdriver being a pen. Nice little nod to like the sonic screwdriver toy back in the day character. Why did you never do that? But the way it explained, I think this story, like going back to the speech, it's the most doctory a Doctor has ever been, I feel. And I think this it's why Capaldi's probably the best person to ever play the Doctor. And I'm glad that Capaldi got his Mondasian Cybermen.
Yeah, that's the other thing. And like that hospital as well. Just everything in World Enough in Time is brilliant there to build up to it. The pain. And
just the volume button as well. It's just wonderfully grim and dark. Razor, I didn't know. I'll be honest, I was fooled by it.
I was fooled too. I think I was just so absorbed in the story, you sort of like forget that, oh yeah, John Sim is coming back at some point.
Yeah.
Like everyone says, oh, that big reveal was spoiled. You still really get caught up in it though. Like even if you knew, you still really got caught up in the momentum of that reveal. And I think great reveals like that do work on rewatch. Like we were saying about Rise of Cybermen, the Age of Steel, the build up to the Cybermen, and that is brilliant. Here, that build up to the Master works brilliantly as well. And at the same time, you've got the Doctor confronting Bill as a Cyberman, and the way that slowly sinks in on you, it's
I think
chills.
It's that going back to that grim, bleak happiness because you've got sort of that stuff with Bill and Razor, which I think is a sheer joy of like, do you want the good tea or do you want the bad tea? Can I have the good tea? Why, it's positive attitude that'll keep you going through.
Yeah. Like John Simm's just having such fun in that role.
Yeah.
I think this is very much the Master he wanted to play. Like Moffat got the Master so right in this two-parter. In both
perfect ending for the Master.
Yeah. Like it does just feel right that he doesn't want his future going this way, and now he's got a chance to intervene.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, just Capaldi blowing up the Cybermen. Oh, I love it. There's just something quite nice about that action moment. The little reference Planet 14, beat you on Vogue, all that. And it's like, oh yeah.
Yeah. And again, it's like that hopeful, heroic music, isn't it, as he's making his final stand.
And it has that sort of last chance saloon because it's like Bill and the Doctor going up against it, giving Nardole and the kids a bit more time. Nardole gets a bit of a love interest. The goodbye between the Doctor and Nardole. I'll name a pig after you. And he's like, oh, I count on it. Yeah, it's just stuff like that. It's so good.
It's understated but brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah. And you just think this could have been the best regeneration story ever.
But I think Twice Upon a Time doesn't necessarily take away from that, though, because this is still the inciting incident of that. It's just like an extension afterwards.
It's an epilogue, isn't it?
Yeah.
Time.
This is still like the finale, in a sense, to the 12th Doctor. It's not like they've suddenly undone that he's going to die here and then kill him off again in the next story anyway.
But it's just, I love the line of I thought there'd be stars.
Yeah, that's
I think that suits Capaldi because he's that sort of cosmic magician, isn't he? He's always sort of out there in the stars, and you can always sort of imagine him playing the guitar on top of the TARDIS roof. And the pool, he's that cosmic Doctor out there in the stars.
He's just everything the Doctor should be, unless it's everything a Doctor Who story should be in a lot of ways.
It's just the perfect Doctor Who story.
I love the new Mondasian Cyberman design. I think is great.
Yeah.
Again, they're stomping in it, but I can forgive it, kind of. Especially on the stairs. When it's those metal stairs, like us walking up there normally will make a racket. So. I love the opening moments of the Doctor Falls as well, like the knock yourself out, the whole monologue about parallel evolution and such. Nardole arriving in the shuttle, the heroic music there. Where is it? The Doctor's dead. He told me he always hated you. Let's go. Yes, heard you the first time.
Yeah, it's great. The double act between Missy and John Sim is wonderful.
It's Moffat on top form, really.
It is. It really is. Series 10 in general is just Moffat just going, well, this is my last series. Hello, Siri. No, stop.
Twice in one day.
Blimey. It's just chef kiss, it's just Moffat going all out. This is my Doctor Who. I think that's why I love Series 10. I'm a big Series 10 stan.
Yeah, Series 10's my second favourite Moffat series. Series 5 still takes the crown, but yeah. I'd say this has got to be an excellent story, hasn't it?
Oh, no doubt. I'd fight you if it was anywhere else.
Great stuff. And now we come to The Haunting of Villa Diodati. One of the best Jodie episodes.
Might be my favourite, actually.
Yeah, I do. I keep meaning to rewatch this one.
It's one I keep going back and revisiting.
You have revisited it?
Yeah, I've revisited it at least 3 times.
Hello, YouTube.
Hello.
Oh, here we get started from a hot take. Haunting is one of my least favourite New Who episodes. The 1, 2, 3 punch of Praxeus. Can you hear me? And that almost made me stop watching. Timeless Children didn't help either. I'm not the biggest fan of Praxeus or Can You Hear Me, to be fair, but this one
Praxeus is bad.
Praxeus we were hopeful for as well, because that was Kablam writer. Yeah. Peyton Sideman has said Series 10 is the most forgettable season of New Who, in my opinion. I can sort of see why, in one sense, that is very much its own contained thing. Because it was meant to be this fresh start, which is then immediately undercut by the next reset.
But I prefer Series 10 reset to Series 11 reset.
Oh, that very much so.
I don't think that's a hot take.
No. Yeah, so it is very much its own little bubble, really, isn't it? I mean,
think-
Nardole kind of is carried over from before, but even then, you don't need to know his backstory to get his character in Series 10.
But Bill's such a lovely companion, and you fall in love with her instantly. And like, you don't mind that she overcomes the conversion because it's set up in like the Monk trilogy.
Yeah, and you can also sort of give that she's the first of these new Cybermen.
Yeah,
Maybe there's some teething issues there as well.
but yeah,
And I think it's the emotion, isn't it? It's done right. It's not just for the sake of it. It's not blowing up with love because we need a end to this plot. It is, you know, this bond between the Doctor and companion.
Mm.
Yeah, so all beautiful stuff there. But yeah, Haunting of Villa Diodati. Some actual fun character moments in this one with
Yeah.
Ryan and like the guy who like says about getting his gun and stuff and them having a duel.
duel.
I think,
mean,
yeah.
Ashad.
Yeah, Ashad is brilliant. This is his best story.
I would say he gets progressively worse.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I'd say. I mean, I guess we can talk about it as a lump sum in a way. Maybe I don't know.
It's hard to tell whether this is because it's a different writer for one thing, and it does sort of have a beginning, middle, and end of its own. You could, I think, the way I usually go about it is if you can slot a full story in between, then you can count them as two separate stories.
Yeah,
and with this, I feel like you could have had the TARDIS crew go off somewhere else, then head into the future, and it wouldn't feel weird.
Yeah.
In that sense. So I can forgive it for that, and I can have it be its own thing, even though it is heavily tied into what comes later. So you think with Ashad as well, you think they're setting up so much, you think you are going to get a bit more of him, but then you don't really get any backstory. I think maybe there's one line where he talks about murdering his children or something in
that's in Ascension.
Oh, is it? There's something early on in Ascension when he's hunting down like that kid who's hiding. I swear he says something similar, but like,
I can't remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, just that he wanted to be converted, but he's a bit like all for Cybermen and all that, but he got rejected by the process.
Yeah, that he's this fanatical Cyberman, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the fact that there is Cyberman rejects, because you do hear about them. This isn't like the first time they've been involved in it. Like you hear in quite a few classic stories, unsuitable what's it called? Subjects will be killed or whatever.
Yeah.
So there's something about that in the Invasion, where Tobias Vaughan is told to select the right humans and the rest will be killed off. And then I think in Rise of Cyberman Age of Steel, you hear that Cyberman announcer over the tannoy saying all reject stock will be deleted or whatever.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
So yeah, there's certainly, you can imagine that this has happened to more than one person, but here it's someone who wanted to be a Cyberman still. And I love that fanaticism of him. It's a brilliant performance as well. Brilliant look. Like this
it changed though.
Cyberman.
It changed between two stories.
No.
Because in this he's got more of the, I think, RTD Cybermen sort of lower half. And then you get to Ascension, and I think Timeless Children, he's got the more Moffat style lower half.
Maybe he upgraded himself between stories.
Yeah, maybe.
You can very much imagine him sitting down and like working on himself, can't you?
Yeah,
doing himself up a bit.
Yeah. But I think Haunting of Villa Diodati, it's like the Invasion. It's a story of two halves. You have that sort of gothic horror. Is there ghosts with like the house shifting around? But it's actually, I think, is it Percy Shelley?
Yeah, it's him and the
Siberian.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Nightmare in Sylvan, except shifting the house.
Serbia.
Yeah, which is nice. I think that's a weird thing what hasn't really been picked up within the story, because obviously Graham saw a kid and like a maid, and it's like,
Yeah,
oh,
and
there's no such thing as ghosts. And it's like, and people are like, is that something to do with like Graham's medical condition? Is he not well in the head?
Is he seeing dead people?
Yeah, like
Yeah, I think
that
that's
never.
just more meant to be a fun joke, isn't it?
But it's because the story plays it off straight.
You're
You
meant to
naturally
take it
question it.
as you're meant to take it as ghosts are real.
I mean, the third Doctor would disagree, because it's always a scientific answer, you know.
Yeah. Sarah Jane would disagree as well.
Yeah, Sarah Jane would.
Very much. Yeah. Oh, good night, stylish one.
Oh, good night.
But yeah, I think it is one of the things with the Chibnall era, though, that does drag the story down, is not everything quite tying up as nicely.
Mhm.
Like, things will happen just for the sake of there being a mystery,
Mhm.
but then the answers to that mystery don't necessarily line up as well. It's not as watertight scripts. And so it's very much meant for disposable viewing in that sense. It's not as bad here as it is in many other stories. Like, we've got much worse stuff coming up next. But yeah, like, similar to, I think the obvious example is Carvanista at the start of Halloween Apocalypse, how he is very much set on,
I'm gonna kill you.
yeah, it's it's there because he's trying to make the reveal as shocking as possible, and that's not what makes a good reveal. World Enough and Time and the Doctor Falls proved that, because we knew that Johnson was coming back. It didn't make that reveal any less exciting. And I think if your reveal is purely based on the shock value, then it's not necessarily a good reveal. Especially when it's being broadcast anyway, and you can guess it from a mile off. Yeah.
I mean, this one did leak that they're going to be a Mary Shelley Cyberman story.
Yeah, we had that early on. But to be fair, I don't think we knew it going in, did we? For certain. Like, we knew we were getting we knew the next story was called Ascension to Cybermen. And so we thought maybe it was just like a mix up in communication. Like, we were getting a Mary Shelley story and a Cyberman story. And
I mean, the story plays it off pretty quick, doesn't it? It's like, oh no, you're not getting it.
And then suddenly we are.
It's just, again, it plays to Jodie's strength. Like, the confrontation between Ashad is great. In both stories, I think, again, it shows Jodie's strength, like much in the Sontaran story.
Beautifully shot, like when she's sitting there in the dark waiting for him.
Yeah. And his weapon's not fully charged yet, so there's a lot of power within that scene. It's great. Even when Ashad goes and grabs like the baby, and he leaves the baby because he's like, oh, the baby's sick, it's not worth my time.
Yeah.
I think that there's some beautifully grim dialogue. Obviously, you have the classic moment of, oh, its team structure, it's mountainous, you know.
Which might be a bit overrated, but
Overrated.
I won't say it's bad, per se.
It's good for the era, let's say.
Yeah.
But it's a good moment. I like it.
Yeah. I'd say it's probably an only stupid Earth Brains.
Oof.
Maybe. Ooh, are you wanting to go high?
I was thinking between the top two, personally.
Oh, I'd say maybe Magnificent Spectacle. It just about scrapes it.
Oh, no. There we go. Yeah, for me, I think it's my second favorite New Who Cyberman story.
Ah, I see.
It's a good one. It's one I'll happily rewatch and have a good time with it.
Yeah, I probably should rewatch this one sometime soon. But it's just that thing of I know what it leads into, so it's like
you can. It's like you can use your own logic. There's a story in between. It's fine.
Yeah. But even then, it's still like tied in.
Yeah, I will say though, Ascension of the Cybermen, I really like.
I will agree there. I think it's got a lot of good stuff going for it. It's just so much of what it sets up doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah, because you've got the lovely sort of like the surviving humans, and you get the lovely cyber drones, which I don't mind. I think
I
they're
don't
all right.
mind them. Yeah.
Just they're the way the Cybermen are built up within it. You really get that fear factor. What I think was missing from previous Cybermen stories. Really, I think there is a lovely sort of sense of dread when they arrive. You're like, oh damn.
Brilliant pre-title sequence.
Yeah, with the cyber helmet, the music, Segan Akinola doing amazing like that updated cyber score.
Yeah, the cyber score is brilliant. Like when they're all marching through the ship, Earthshock style. Like there's a very nice callback there. I do like this Cyber Warrior redesign.
Yeah, it's got a nice sort of invasion sort of style shaped head. Yeah.
I think it looks better from some angles than it does from others.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think again, it's got a lot of problems with things not quite coming together. Like you had that whole line of "We're on a ship with Cybermen" that makes other Cybermen scream. But
Yeah,
then
like,
I don't know quite what he was meant to be doing there.
Yeah, because you just see him like just getting like an angle grinder next to the side, and you're like, what? Was he just removing like the emotional inhibitor so they become like berserkers, maybe?
But surely that's like the opposite of what he wants because he wanted his emotions removed anyway.
Yeah.
I don't think Chibnall fully thought through what he wanted to do with Ashad because he knew he was going to kill him off anyway.
I think that's the bad thing, how he's just quickly disposed of Ashad.
Yeah, it's again shock for no reason other than shock.
Yeah.
He's there to pump up the master, really, who didn't need to be in this story. We didn't necessarily need this to tie into Gallifrey. We could have had a two-parter like this and then switch the whole Master and Gallifrey thing after that.
Yeah, because I love Sacha Dhawan, but yeah, it's sort of the Cybermen just become very second fiddle when you get to the Timeless Children, mainly because of the aspect what the story's going of going, hey, do you know the Morbius Doctors? Well, yeah.
Yeah. And then you got the whole Ireland stuff, I think is pretty good.
You get
As
the
a mystery at first, but
yeah,
sorry?
because it links to Hand
Hand of It, yeah. But also just the sequences themselves are like they're this nice little mystery. I think, oh, what could this be? But of course, that doesn't really play into anything. Like you get one line maybe explaining it, where it's like, "Oh, I've been beaming these visions into your head, Doctor." But
You
there's
don't see the Doctor.
no. There's no reason to think the Doctor has been seeing these visions. They're their own separate thing in the story.
Maybe there's a master beaming the ghost to Graham's head, going, "Haha, Bradley Walsh."
Yeah, that could be it. Look, we've solved the mystery.
There we go. That's a big finish short trip.
And then, like the whole reveal of the Timeless Children as well. The fact that it's just info dumping on the Doctor. The fact that it shouldn't really have as much impact as it does. Like when she's saying, "Why would they lie?" Like we haven't seen the Time Lords around enough for one thing recently for that to work. Also, the Doctor is used to being lied to by the Time Lords. That's literally what they do. That's the entirety of the classic series, is them lying about stuff.
Yeah, I just don't think it works because Jodie's very much sidelined in the story. She's out of it, isn't she?
And so are the companions. Like nothing. It's stuff happening to everyone, not anything really happening.
Like you have
action from character.
You have that weird character arc in series 12 of Ryan trying to do basketball because of his dyspraxia. And then he blows up a load of Cybermen. Like, okay, is that really the character arc you were going for?
Yeah,
for really what we want. Yeah. Cyber Yaz and like Graham gets some nice little moments and stuff, but
like that weird scene where Graham's talking to Yaz just feels so forced. But I'm saying, "You are the most amazing person I've ever met." It's very much Chibnall going, "Oh, I need to stop the plot and get a bit of character in here."
Yeah, it's like that. They did that in like Demons of the Punjab. It's like, oh, we've got to have a quiet moment now.
It's paint by numbers, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just it could do so much more. And I think like when you look at the Timeless Child reveal as a reveal, who would it affect more? The Master. So why do we not get it from his point of view at least?
I think it's the Master way more of the character. The reveal.
And also the fact that it is it's very been full on saying everything's about to change. Like they they very much had that in the marketing for Series 12. Like, we all very much saw this coming after Fugitive of the Jadoon.
Mm.
Like, none of it was really all that shocking to us
And
when
I
we
think
heard about this. And so, like, it's playing off as this huge reveal where it's like, we know this. Can we move on now? Can we do something with it, maybe? Can we do something interesting? But no, we never do.
the way with what the story does, it treats it as if it's you can take it or leave it, which I think is fine. But it's not really this is it now. It's more like you can either take it or leave it because it's like, oh, it doesn't define who we are, who we were in our past, and that. Okay.
Yeah, like, it tells you everything's about to change. And then you do have that moment where the fugitive doctor says, does this change anything? And the doctor's like, oh, no, it doesn't. And so there we go.
Like, why are we telling the story then if it doesn't matter?
And then we go back and do the same thing in the Revolution. And then we seem to do the same thing in Flux as well.
I mean,
I don't-
it's going to be the centenary is going to be something.
And then Russell's probably just going to forget about it.
I mean, I think Russell likes the idea, but I can't see him carrying it on.
No. I mean, it's the same with the Eighth Doctor being half human.
Yeah.
It's sort of like, it's going to be a concept that we've, except it's technically part of canon, but we just ignore it.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a story, it just comes to a bit of a messy end, really.
The
Like, you have
Cybermen are
that
just
whole-
relegated a lot.
You have Koshamus sacrificing himself instead of the Doctor, which is just bizarre. Like, it's very generic. You have this older character letting this younger character live. But the Doctor is so much older at this point. Why is she just letting him do this? Like, it's taking a scene from Russell's Who. It's very much looking at the end of Sontar and Stratton Poison Sky, where Luke swaps places with the Doctor. It's looking at that from a very reductionist point of view and thinking, yes, someone else got swapped out to save the Doctor from pressing that button. But it's done so much worse. It's not the same at all. The Doctor just runs off and lets him sacrifice himself. The Doctor is always the one doing the opposite of this. She wouldn't just let someone sacrifice themselves.
She does so. Look at Flux, mass genocide.
Yeah, I don't know. And it's the same with the whole guns thing, isn't it? Like, Russell at least had a clear stance on that. Chibnall's just sort of taking, guns bad.
Yeah.
Let's have the hat, and that's pretty much it.
That's your moral message, kids.
Yeah. It's just, it's a very reductionist view of a lot of the great things from the Russell and Moffat eras. It's just taking the surface level of it, and that's it. And that's what a lot of the Jodie... This feels like a rant about the whole Jodie era at this point, but this story is sort of like the crux of it, really.
It
Like,
has all the main flaws in view, I think.
And so much of this era has been built around this timeless children twist. And so it is very much the crux of this era. But yeah. I'm just glad we're getting Russell back. I'm just glad we only have 2 more episodes of this. Because even when there's good stuff, even when we're having fun with Flux, we get to the end and we feel disappointed. It doesn't all come together. Same with this. We had a good time with Haunting. We had a good time with Ascension. Timeless Children falls completely flat on its face. It throws away the cyber, introduces cyber lords out of nowhere for no real reason. Destroys Gallifrey. Well, that's not really that's spicy to destroy Gallifrey, but
I mean, are cyber lords going to come back?
They could do. I don't really care if they do.
I mean, I like the design. I think that's kind of cool. But
I do think it's a waste to have destroyed Gallifrey after just getting it back to do that with it.
Yeah.
Payne Cyberman seems to be mostly in agreement in the chat. The Timeless Children for me is going to be great for EU stories, more so for the Roof Doctor. It's just that it's also another piece of strange Doctor Who lore that, quite frankly, doesn't affect all that much. Yeah, it's just it feels like trying to put a stamp on Doctor Who's past. It doesn't need to be there. Like we should be building more towards the future rather than just recontextualizing the past or trying to.
This is another thing where a problem lies with Timeless Children is that Series 11 was marketed as, hey, this is your new Star Doctor, this is for your new people, let's get on board, this is the Doctor. They realised that didn't quite work for Series 11, so Series 12, hey, we're going to go really deep cut and bring something back from like 1976. Do you remember that? Like, Joe Public isn't. We're going to remember it because of Brain and Morbius, but it just seems very much alienating the audience you should be trying to keep. You're going to keep the fans regardless, but the people you want to keep are Joe Public. And I think that you've lost them with that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people did fall off with Series 12. And it's just a lot of potentials there. It's just never realised, really. So where would you put these?
See, I like Ascension. It's just dragged down by its conclusion.
I'd probably say either delete, or maybe in need of an upgrade.
See,
that feels too nice, though.
Ascension, I'd rate over Nightmare. But Timeless Children, I just think it's there. It's average. It's not a story I'd happily go back and watch.
No.
Because
again, it's very much built for that reveal. It's not made to be a story in its own right as such, which is bizarre for a finale that you're setting up things for the future and then it's done again in flux. But yeah,
I'm really stuck on this one.
I'm leaning towards delete.
Yeah, go on. Because I think Ascension's solid enough. But yeah, that is the Cyber tier list. I don't think too many hot takes there.
Hopefully not. I mean, according to Stylish one we have, but I think a lot of people do like the Invasion. So
yeah, Invasion's a belter. So there we go.
Chibdall Zero described in one sentence so much wasted potential. Every single story never reaches the heights it should go. Yes, Cyberman definitely. Pain Cyberman also said, I'm hoping Big Finish recontextualizes 13's more terrible decisions. Yeah, I think nice. I think I've heard quite a few people say that the 13th Doctor's morality can be reduced to a live, laugh, love, like coffee mug, isn't it? Or damn. I think I saw that on Twitter, so that was not my original thought. That was just something I saw and something that I don't necessarily disagree with. Mr. Bonkactus says, mate, I need some tea. Mood.
I think I do after this couple of hours talking about Cyberman Stories.
Yeah, we've gone on a fair bit, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, because we started about the hour mark on the tier list itself.
It's been fun.
Yeah, we're going on longer than the Dalek one did, and that had more stories to get through.
But I feel like there's more to say about the Cybermen Stories and the potential and the waste, really. I think there's more variety of Cybermen Stories than Daleks, because Daleks like, that's good. Moving on.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully now for a while we don't see the Cybermen again, especially not in finales, because we've had like every even series finale has featured a Cyberman and Master story for the past since 2014. So yeah, hopefully series 14 does not keep up that trend, and then Russell can reintroduce the Cybermen again at some point. Maybe with a more classic design. Maybe go back to like a more boiler suitish look again.
Yeah, that'd be
interesting. It doesn't have to be as armor. Like I think especially now with what we can make the costumes out of.
But I think as well the wonderful thing about the sci-fi is if you look at going back to like Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, retro sci-fi is very much in. Like the cheapness is all there now.
And I mean, look at what they managed to do with both Sea Devils and Sontarans. It's that classic look, but just brought into the modern age, really, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
not a modern remake. It is a remake of the old design, but with just newer resources, really. It's what they probably would have done at the time if they could.
That's like the Mondasian's web in it. Like it's a nice little tweak, but the silhouette's there, and you know
Yeah.
what it is, what it's referencing.
Mm. Yeah, you instantly look at that and you think, oh yeah, that is the Mondasian Cyberman. So yeah, I mean, it would be nice to have something more Tomb-esque, perhaps.
Yeah,
See what they can do there.
yeah, that'd be very nice.
Yeah,
Playing Cyberman. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. I mean, otherwise, maybe you could get like more out of the Cybermen as well, like the body horror stuff. Maybe give the Cybermen their own spin-off. Maybe have like have it be like a Doctor-like story, but just as a spin-off for like a mini series, similar to what Big Finish did with their Cyberman.
And that worked really well, actually.
Yeah, have it be leaning more adult, but not full on, just so that you can get a bit more out of the Cybermen and their potential.
I mean, Cyberwoman, it had moments of like the body horror of like the person Yanto brought to help Lisa, but then it undercuts it all with when you get the reveal of said Cyberwoman.
I think James is a defender of Cyberwoman, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we were considering putting Sontara and Sarah Jane stories on. There's Sontara and Tearless. Maybe we should have put Cyberwoman on this, but I don't think of that in time. Also, I can't be bothered to watch it.
Yeah, that's another thing.
I mean, where would you put it on the tier list if you could?
Where would I put Cyberwoman on the tier list?
Yeah, just for people's curiosity.
I'll put it mid tier.
It's like only stupid Earth brains are in need of an upgrade.
Yeah, maybe a bit below. Like, I don't think it's bad. I think the idea is there. It's a nice continuation of Doctor Who. With like the Battle of Canary Wharf, but yeah. It's all right. It's all right.
It's weird how forgettable that one is.
Like, Chibnall script as well.
Yeah. But like you think Sontaran's in Sarah Jane Adventures, like that was one of the hooks. Levine, very much so. I think comparing the first series ones, like you do think of that, and it does follow on from what's it called? Aliens London World War 3. It's sort of like a following on from that plot with it being their revenge for that.
Yeah.
And so when you think Sarah Jane in connections to Doctor Who, one of the first things that does pop into your head is the Slovene there early on. Cybermen in like relation to Torchwood, you don't necessarily think, maybe because they didn't come back, maybe because they weren't like a recurring threat like the Slovene were, but yeah. Just an odd thought there. Torchwood is basically let's bring the vibes of the Wilderness Years, but in a spin-off, says Paint Cyberman.
I see that.
Yeah, and Mr. Bonkcactus very much agreed with this. Some parts of Torchwood, I think, are edgy just for the sake of edgy.
It's just pushing the boundary that we're on at like 9 o'clock, so we can go past the watershed and do some sort of edgy stuff. It's like Class. It's very much trying to find out what they can and can't do, what works. And I think when you get to series 2 of Torchwood, they very much know what they can do, and then you get the masterpiece of Children of Earth.
Yeah, they very much know what they're doing by then. And that, it almost feels like it could be watched by a younger audience in the sense that there's not an abundance of gore or anything, but it's more in the subject matter.
Yeah, it's the idea. Yeah.
Like, you think it could just about get away with being a 12, but then it's just got a couple of moments to push it over, and it's just like that mature concept. And I think a lot of Sarah Jane is very mature in comparison to like a lot of Torture feels quite juvenile in what it does because it can. Whereas Sarah Jane has some quite mature concepts with, like when Luke in The Lost Boy is found, is sort of like taken in by the Sulla family. And you have like that potential abuse storyline there.
I mean,
Maria being on her own in what is it? Whatever Happened to Sarah Jane Smith, and the story with Angela there.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that line of "Who says I was meant to die?" That is some heavy stuff for a child. There, like that, it does have a lot more mature storylines than people give it credit for. Whereas, yeah, I think because it can't go full on with the blood and gore, and like the sex and stuff that Torchwood dives into, it can actually focus on the more mature storylines while also still being fun. Whereas Torchwood sort of was a bit too taken in by, oh, we can do all this stuff now, rather than thinking, what can we do that's mature but also works.
Sort of Torchwood, sort of that teenage sort of edgelord Doctor Who, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all like trying to say, oh, you think you're too cool for Doctor Who now? Well, come and watch us instead.
Yeah, it very much is that.
Yeah. We've got sex, guns, and alcohol. What more can you want?
Well, every teenager's dream, isn't it?
And it is very much similar to the New Adventures in that sense, isn't it? Like
very much so.
Stuff.
It's
where that's doing a lot of it just because it can. And it feels even more wrong there because it's like you've got Sylvester around.
Yeah, it's very much the New Adventures. Like, well, nobody else is reading it. It's just for the neckbeards what have left. You know, Doctor Who's audience isn't getting any younger; it's getting older. So, of course, what you're gonna do? You're gonna bring in all the adult stuff into it, which doesn't work really. But yeah. I mean, it must have worked to a point because they got a fair few books out of it, but
yeah, they kept on going for a while. And I think even the EDAs like had some more adult stuff in as well, didn't it?
I think maybe the EDAs are a bit more control because you've got the BBC banner.
Yeah, it is the BBC doing it itself. I think it's less the sex and drugs in that, isn't it? And alcohol is more just like the mature. I think there's less control on gore there, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's because it's a book, like you can. They're not necessarily actually showing something like that. So yeah. I mean, isn't Rags that's meant to be?
Yeah, Rags is a horrible, horrible one. But yeah, we forget about Rags for good reason.
We don't talk about Rags.
We don't talk about Rags because it just terrible.
Harry Williams Productions. Hello
there.
And Mr. Bonkax says, "Do Daleks have genders? Is this too political for us to answer?"
That is the question. I mean, mutants.
Yeah, like they did originally evolve from people, so presumably the early ones at least did. I imagine they didn't refer to them as such, though. I mean, sometimes I'm pretty sure a Dalek has been called he, but I think most of the time it is just they or the Dalek, isn't it? So probably not. Payne Cyberman's very specific. Daleks do not have genders.
That's definitely a Dalek line.
Yeah. I suppose that debate is do Cybermen as well.
Yeah.
Because they obviously originally started with it, but you have that line in Doomsday where they are going on about we will remove all sex, all colour, all creeds. Yeah. Also, I did read Payne Cyberman's comment there in a Dalek voice.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to when it's in cap.
Have genders.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much us done for tonight, I think.
Yeah, we're going on a fair while.
Yeah, 3 hours. Oof, yeah. Definitely got a year. We definitely made it for the lack of ones in January, I think, with that.
February.
Oh, yeah.
We're March
February.
now.
Yeah, well.
January we were pretty full on. I think we did about 5, 6.
I was ill in January, so maybe February, yeah. Yeah.
Let's have a quick check.
I think it was. But,
yeah, we did. So
we did 40 and like
finished fans tier list, 40, Dalek tier list, Shada, Flux.
Yeah, it must have been like
5. I'm pretty sure Flux was January 21st, and then we took a break until the Annihilators.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. Hopefully we made up for that.
Yeah. I mean, we're getting into more regular stream time now, aren't we?
Yeah, we should
Hopefully,
be back to our usual Friday.
yeah, hopefully next Friday. Do you want to reveal what we'll be doing?
We shall be doing a lovely throwback of a 2015 Big Finish trilogy. This was going to be in celebration of another release, which was the Annihilators, and it is the Locum Doctors trilogy, where we'll be taking a look at the Defectors, Last of the Cybermen, and the Secret History.
Yeah, sort of tying in with both 40 and the Dilators, isn't it, as well? So that's being thrown about in time, and then also it's like fresh start for the Third Doctor and stuff. So I did.
And it's one what's practically been on our list for a year.
Yeah, like after we did our Fifth Doctor box set one, we were thinking about, what other things can we do? Or was it maybe even after the Fourth Doctor?
Yeah, maybe it was that.
I suggested the Fifth Doctor box set, and then you suggested 40. Not 40, sorry. The Locum Doctors trilogy.
Mm.
And then we just took ages and ages to get around to it. I think we like caught the tier list bug.
Yeah.
And so we were going through that instead, rather than because we didn't have to necessarily re-listen to anything.
It's bad to say that the tier lists are quick and easy content, but it's quick and easy content.
Mm.
There's no. It's wrong to say
Homework.
there's no homework with a tier list. It's just like off the cuff. This is what I think. There.
Yeah.
Whereas we've taken like 6 hours to do this one, the Locum Doctors.
Yeah, but it's going to be interesting to reassess our thoughts. And I think, how many of those did you review on your channel as well?
I didn't review them because it was that weird time where I just was off YouTube, but I do like the Big Finish fans.
We probably had talked about them then.
I might drag a clip from like the old streams with like me, you, and Tom, or maybe get the clips of me and you talking about those stories and going, so this was us in 2015. What do we think 7 years later?
Yeah, because I think
maybe
I've
that might be a bit
got
cringe.
some. Yeah, I'm not sure I'm ready to hear my voice from back. Because I think I did upload reviews of each.
Yeah,
one.
I remember watching your Secret History one.
Yeah, I don't even remember what I thought of them back. I remember my general thoughts on the stories, and I have re-listened to all of them already at this point. Ben's just got Secret History to go, so this is a lock. This isn't going to be, something else has come out this week. Better listen to this instead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we are fairly certain. We have been fairly certain about things before, though, so
we should be fine. We should be fine for that. Yeah, because I don't think there's anything what's going to surprise us next week.
No, probably not.
I don't think Mind of the Hodiak. I mean, this could age terribly, and Mind of the Hodiak could be out next week.
But even I think the plan is for that we're going to re-listen to Damaged Goods as well.
Yeah,
do like an RTD double bill, and so we still got. Even if Hodiak does drop next week, we'll still have Damaged Goods to get through as well. So
maybe that'll be the one after. Maybe. Yeah, all depends. But for now, it is for Locum Doctors, so that'd be very exciting to revisit that. So that'll be coming to you hopefully on Friday. Yeah, because I think I'm at uni till 3, so I should be back in time, so it'll be fine.
Yeah, be good to go.
Be good to go and do that. But yeah, thank you everyone for joining us. Pain Cyberman, enjoy Doom Coalition. I know I didn't. Yeah,
I have seen some people saying that's their favourite of like the 8th Doctor box set series.
They're mad.
Story arcs. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, we did rank most of it quite highly, other than Doom Coalition 2. It is just like that middle part that does ruin it for us.
It's the thing what stops you going back to revisit it.
Yeah, because you got that like hump there to get over before you get some good stuff.
You just got to wade through all the crap. But yeah,
there
anyway. We are.
Yeah, good night, Pain Cyberman.
It's better than Dark Eyes. Okay.
Oof. I suppose Dark Eyes is much more inconsistent there because there wasn't a clear vision of a story arc there.
It was never designed to be a 4 series thing.
No.
Yeah.
It was stretched out, but
yeah.
Yes, well, I think that's us done for tonight.
That's us done for tonight. I mean, I'm sure we'll revisit the 8th Doctor tier list when Stranded finishes in April. So maybe we can have a little rejig and do all that sort of stuff. But for now, that is us for this Friday. Hope you've enjoyed our Cyber tier list, and I hope we haven't offended you like we did the Dalek tier list. But hey, we respect all opinions here. So yeah, thank you everyone for joining us, and we'll see you very soon next week for the Locum Doctors. So take care, stay safe, and bye-bye.